G'day, Patrick Stack here from ABC Sport Daily. If you love sport, taking the chances when they came was going to become incredibly important, and that's what Luai was able to do. And great conversation.
And it was really one of the first times, certainly I can remember, watching Paddy Mills playing for the Boomers and thinking that, yeah, he was in his head a little bit.
Then you'll love ABC Sport Daily.
Everyone in Noami's family is an Olympian at this point, except for her.
ABC Sport Daily. Get it on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio,
ABC Sport Digital. And take us with you on the ABC Listen app.
look for the AFL button.
We could be moments away from a payoff to one of the great football stories. Round 20 has been littered with dramatic results that have thrown the top 8 into disarray. So it's fitting the weekend wraps up at the Adelaide Oval with the Hawks looking to become the second team this century to overcome a 0-5 start and claw their way into contention. Standing in their path is a few factors. Firstly, the Western Bulldogs, who are currently playing the Sydney Swans. We're going to keep you up to date with that contest across the afternoon. But early on, the Doggies are looking all right at the SCG. They're up by 28 points midway through the second term, 5-5-35 to 1-1-7. You can hear that on the ABC Listen app if you do want to check it out. If the Swans can get the job done, the only other person in the Hawks' path are the contender crushers in Adelaide, who have knocked off 2 top 8 sides in the past month and are still holding on to their own slim mathematical hope of sneaking into the top 8 themselves. Plenty to play for as we close in on the final month of the regular season. Great to have your company for Sunday footy on ABC Sport, on ABC Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app. Aaron Bryan's with you to call the action, and alongside me is Neil Cross. Afternoon, Crossy.
Aaron, stranger things have happened. You never know what's going to happen in this game. I mean, Adelaide, I looked it up actually, same time last year at this stage of the season, they were 8 wins and 10 losses. That had them in 13th. They're 14th at this stage with 7 wins and a draw plus 10 losses. So there's not much difference, if you like, statistically. And of course we know where they finished last year, within maybe a bad decision of actually making the finals. And then Hawthorn, well, everybody says they're one of the most informed teams, if not the informed team of the AFL at this stage. They've lost 7 of their past 10, I think it is, at the Adelaide Oval. So 7 of the past 9, in fact, of the games they've played at the Adelaide Oval.
There's a possible reason behind that as well. So these two sides haven't played at this venue since 2020 either. So a lot of those matchups have been against Port Adelaide or Collingwood in gather round. So they've technically lost their last 3 here, the Hawks, but their form lines against Adelaide isn't quite respective of that. They've actually traded wins and losses over their last 7. But yeah, weird that we're back here again for the first time in 4 years.
Well, yes, and this is the nature of the AFL, of course, of the uneven way that things work out of where teams play and when they play. But look, as I said, stranger things. Both these clubs have some hope that the finals are not beyond them.
All the stars are out this afternoon, except for Jordan Dawson, who is going to miss through concussion for the Adelaide Crows. But the Hawks are as named and unchanged from last week. Finn McGuinness, their sub. There is a late change for the Crows. Brodie Smith missing with illness, so Dan Curtin comes in as the sub, playing his 3rd game for the footy club. Pick number 8, their superstar draft pick, who's been running through the midfield in the sand for the last couple of weeks, and maybe we'll see him injected on the ball later in this contest. Good crowd expected, overcast conditions, but a bit of sunshine creeping through here in Adelaide, and we've got a superstar expert roster for you to wrap up the round. 400 games for the Crows combined between them. Premiership player Rod Jamieson first up. Good to see you, Jamo.
Hello, Aaron. Crossy, thank you. Yes, always good to finish off a weekend at Adelaide Oval in the sun.
And you had first-hand experience of the Hawks' victory over Collingwood last week.
Yes, I must admit, I had the pleasure of actually calling the Hawks last week, and great ground, obviously, to call it the MCG, and just to go there. And I think the way that the Hawthorn were just rolling along, and then Collingwood expected to probably win that particular game, but they really dismantled Collingwood. I thought Collingwood were really lazy in the way that they defended, but the differential numbers that the Hawks had on Collingwood were insane, particularly their handball, the way they manoeuvred their way through, the way they continued to play in the wet weather. They got 5 or 6 left footers in this team as well, which changes and opens up the game. They are deadly. and they've also got some blokes that hunt the football. Their defence was good, and they've got some speed up forward. So Hawthorn are a mighty chance here today.
66-point winners in the wet. It's no easy task against the reigning premiers, but they got it done as part of this magnificent run of form. Alongside Rod Jamieson, we've got All-Australian Crow, former two-time best and fairest as well, Scott Thompson. Good to see you, Tomo.
Aaron, thanks, mate. Crossy, Jamo, good to be back here. It's been a little while. So great to be back, and as Jamo touched on, what a great afternoon to finish off the footy. Sun's out at Adelaide Oval. We've touched on Hawthorn. I'm really looking forward to see what the Crows throw up today. A really positive win against the Bombers under the roof at Etihad last weekend, which was a really odd game to watch. Huge momentum swings, which you don't often see goals scored the way they were in big chunks like that. So great win for the Crows. Let's see if they can back it up against what has been an unbelievably exciting Hawthorn team through the back half of this year.
I think the way they got out, wasn't it 36, maybe 42 points out, and then Essendon fought back, and then the way that they had to work back into the game and injuries, it was one of the club's probably better wins for the year, particularly.
It certainly was, yeah. And some of the young guys stood up. Fogg's playing some better footy, who's going to be acting captain today with Dawson out, who's a huge loss. But what I do like seeing with the Crows is the fact that Curtin's getting an opportunity today. Would love to have seen him play, not start as the sub, but unfortunately that's the way it unfolds. But hopefully he gets an opportunity early-ish, not wishing injury upon anybody, but would love to see that young fella out there having a run around.
Jordan Dawson's the big name out, but Nick Murray and Jordan Butts together as that dynamic duo down back could be just as big of a problem. Hawthorn have Marvia Chol, who's wrecking havoc up there this season for them, the journeyman who's made his way to the Hawks, and he could really impose himself this afternoon, Jamo, if he gets some space, the bigger body.
Oh, look, last week he kicked 2 goal 3, and he's got elite speed too. When he wants to turn it on, he defended really well, he tackled, and he's so strong in the air. His recovery is probably questionable, but when he wants to go, he can really go. So Mark Keane might get him, or Borlase might get him. So, you know, it's good to see Josh Roll's name back in, albeit not in today, but coming back from that broken arm as well. Mark Keane's been very good in the defence too, and then, you know, you have a look at, you know, Luke Nankervis, the way that he's been able to hold down a role in the back half also. So I don't mind Adelaide's defence. Probably not their number one choice at today, but they're going to have to be on. They do throw the football around the Hawks.
So those changes for Adelaide, as Gemma mentioned, Borlase in alongside Taylor Walker, who's back after being managed. Chase Jones as well returns for his first game since round 14, and Murray, Butts and Dawson, the 3 changes. Brodie Smith, the laid out, and Daniel Curtin now the sub. The Hawks, as I mentioned, unchanged after their victory over Collingwood, and it is a remarkable run of form, as we've touched on. So 9 of the last 11, and they have this incredible history, the Hawks, of winning a flag every decade since the 60s, and it feels like we were expecting them to bottom out and be down in the trenches for a while, Tomo, but they could be rising back faster than anyone anticipated.
Yeah, absolutely. The dynamic of the group over the recent years has changed drastically for Hawthorn, and we touched on before their record in Adelaide might not be too flash, but with the way the team's changed, these young lads wouldn't even read into that. They wouldn't be interested in what the history says in the past, because they've got a group now with the excitement of these young boys coming through, the chemistry that they've built throughout, probably a third the way through this season to where they're at now, has just continued to grow and grow and grow, and halfway through they added Will Day back into that mix, and we know what he brings to the squad. So they've got a really exciting group, and they're playing some unbelievably exciting footy and full of confidence at the moment.
Bit of housekeeping as well. So James Sicily out there to toss the coin alongside Darcy Fogarty, as Scott Thompson mentioned, the acting captain for the Crows. Sicily playing his 150th game this afternoon as well. So the skipper, who's currently part of the reigning All-Australian team, was picked up at 56 and now makes his way to game 150. Elliot Himmelberg's playing his 50th as well for Adelaide. And the Hawks are donning the retro Guernsey as well, the menacing Hawk from 2011 through to 14. It's back out there as part of the round. So, you know, Sam Mitchell, Luke Hodge all wore this, and now these young Hawks coming through get a chance to don one of their iconic strips.
They've had some stinkers, though, too, in the past. Remember, they had a blue. There was one that was brown and yellow and blue. It was a diamond type one, which is an absolute shocker. So congratulations to James Sicily, 150. Keep an eye on him. He has got a bad right shoulder and can hardly get that arm above his head. So the way he played last week, tremendous in the back line, but he struggles as the game goes on.
Thoughts of Superstar Crows, Rod Jamieson, Scott Thompson, your experts this afternoon. The 5th member of our commentary team on ABC Sport is down on the boundary. It's a very good afternoon to Liz Walsh.
Hello, Aaron, and thank you very much. hello from the boundary, where we might be sitting in pretty overcast and actually rather chilly conditions. It's currently 13 degrees. But despite the cold, stand-in Crows captain Darcy Fogarty has been given a very warm reception by Crows fans down here as he attended his first coin toss, which he promptly won. And so the Crows are going to be kicking to the cathedral or northern end of the ground. Quickly looking to the benches for you. For the Crows, Jones, Cook, Taylor and Himmelberg will start on the bench.
Here we go, the conclusion of round 20 on ABC Sport. The Crows and the Hawks from the Adelaide Oval. Neil Cross to get us underway.
So it'll be the hopeful Crows. They're hoping they might be still in the race, whereas Hawthorn have a lot of hope that they can make the finals from where they are. Out of the middle, led with a hand pass to Berry, left it behind. Day picked it up for Hawthorn to Newcombe, and then back to the ruckman in Meek, who clears it down long inside forward 50. Ball finds the turf. Now Curvis for Adelaide picks it up and immediately taken in a tackle. And we'll ball up 25 out straight in front of the goalface.
Will Day, Nash, Newcombe, Warple, Moore. It's quality midfield. Good clearance work then.
Tossed up, Hawks 50. O'Brien won it down. Only found Bruce, who brushes off the Nankervis tackle and was tripped as a result. The desperation from the young Crow to try and bring down the veteran, and he's conceded the free kick. 20 out, slight angle to the right.
I think that's going to be a huge challenge for the Crows through the middle of the ground, with Berry reasonably inexperienced, Laird's obviously experienced, and also Saligo, not a whole lot of games, but the big bodies, Nash big body, Warple strong body, Bess and Ferris winner. Huge talent for them, and Will Day, we've already touched on what he does.
Methodical approach for the three-time Premiership Hawk. Bruce pops it low and hard. Through for the first goal of the afternoon. Hawthorn hit the front, 1 straight 6. Adelaide yet to score in the opening minutes. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. You can get in touch with us on the text line 0437 774 774 and a score check at the SCG. The Dogs lead the Swans by 22 in the second term.
And Luke Brewster's been around. This is his 294th game. He kicked 4 goals last week against Collingwood 2. He's been a tremendous and a long servant of the football club, and just a dangerous small forward. Up the other end, Riley Thilthorpe is starting deep. Fogarty and Taylor Walker about 30 or 40 out. Josh Rochelli's got a really heavily right knee strap too.
He's had it strapped for a few weeks, but yeah, that's the heaviest we've seen it. James Sicily down there taking care of Walker, although one wonders the way he's playing Sicily. He might not see a lot of Walker. He just tends to fade off and drop into spaces. Back in the middle, O'Brien with a tackle, forces the ball out. Saligo to Laird, clears it, and there's Sicily in a battle with Walker, pushed him forward. The ball came out. It was off O'Brien, ricocheted around, and then picked up by Hardwick, who's tackled immediately. Ball up right on the 50 for Adelaide.
How good was Ben Keys' game last week?
Unbelievable.
Tossed into the air. Meek wins it down straight to Berry, though he can hand it to Saligo. Spent it before he earned it. Impey's on his tail. Did he hold him? No. Fogarty tries the handball inside to Berry. We're about 30 out from goal. He uses the body to free up Scholl. Quick kick off a step. And it bounces wide of the left-hand behind post. We'll get a boundary throw in. Left forward pocket, northern end. Hawks by 6.
Saligo with plenty of claims on a free kick then, I would have thought.
Oh, Jarman Impey. Be very familiar with Adelaide Oval and Adelaide.
So from behind the ball, behind post, in it comes. Rochelli takes it. Then he quick one to Fogarty. Got the ball to boot. Near the goal square. Keys had one whack at it with no luck. Bouncing around. Fogarty picks it up. 2 Hawks take him. Weddle is one of them, and the other one, the big ruckman, Meek. Get a ball up. Adelaide's shuffled the ball about 15 out from the goals. In the air. O'Brien over the top. Down the Keys, eventually got his foot to the ball, socketed through, minus score. So 5 the margin. Hawks with the early goal, Adelaide with the reply, just the minus score, and Sicily to bring the ball in.
A 150 gamer. Breaks out of the defensive goal square and bangs it towards the broadcast wing. His target was Day. It's knocked away from him. Scholl hands it to O'Brien. Hot handball to Saligo, made it work. Then darts it low inside and hits the leading Walker. He's 45 out. Tight angle to the left. Thought about giving it away, but Hawthorn's flooded back quickly with his own. So the Texan will take his set shot, starting close to the boundary line.
That was really well done by Scholl with the intercept there, and he's certainly one for the Crows that has taken his game to a new level this year. And just watching that kick from Saligo on the left peg then, I watched him in the warm-up. He did a number of kicks on his left foot that were razor sharp, so he's on.
Returning after being managed with his back injury, Taylor Walker looks fit and firing. He heads towards home, but it drops short. Was on target, faded late, and not through for a minor score. The Crows 2 behinds. Hawthorn lead 1 straight 6. 4 minutes in, Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Maybe the second or third quarter, Taylor Walker's got that in him, but just the old bones to warm up.
I was about to say the same thing, Gemma.
Eamon wanders off and then goes out to the eastern side. Over the back of the contest, Day picks it up, shuffles through a tackle, takes a bounce, looks at O'Brien and said, too quick for you. Down the half forward, Watson's in space out the back, chips it into the forward pocket. Bruce on the lead, takes it on the chest. Quick transition by the Hawks with their fleet of small men. The way we talk about them, reminiscent of Carlton in the 70s and early 80s. Bruce around on the right foot, hooks it back towards goal, on the line, over the line. That'll be a goal. So Luke Bruce starts off with the first 2 for Hawthorn. The Hawks 2 straight. Adelaide 2 behinds after 5 minutes at the Adelaide Oval.
Gemma, you touched on the experience of Bruce in and another quality finish, but let's go back to Will Day on the half-back line there. His ability just to keep his arms free in congestion with his lateral movement there was all class.
He takes on his awareness as well. Like, he can actually hold on to the football, put it under his arm and use his leg speed out. And in that occasion, he only had to get around Riley O'Brien. He was able to do it, and we know that the Hawks have got some speed. They will take the game on.
Thoughts of superstar Crows, Rod Jamieson, Scott Thompson in the ABC Sport box this afternoon. He's still a superstar to me, Jamo.
Oh, you're very kind.
Hawthorn by 10. 0437 774 774 if you want to get in touch.
I always get wrapped up with our other special comments people, Tomo, too.
Bounce in the middle. O'Brien wins it down. Pinballs off a couple of Hawks, and O'Brien puts his head over it, but it's too low for him. Couldn't bend over. Sliding in Michael Annie. Comes the tackler. Holds up Warple. Will go again just outside the centre circle.
How many showdown medals? Josh Franco?
4 we're going with. 4. Adding his retrospective in.
Tomo, how many you?
Oh, just a solitary.
Meek won it down. Day spun in the tackle, gave it away. Laird for the Crows. Hands it to Bond. Driving kick into the 50 for Adelaide. Too high for Himmelberg. Spills to the back to Weddle. Arches the back away from Walker and looks to exit for the Hawks. Does so cleanly. Nice kick. Hits up McDonald. Hands it to Ward, and through the broadcast wing they go as Weddle races by centre wing and sidesteps his way through Saligo. Ran too far. His kick inside 50 was looking good as well towards Scholl, but Weddle a bit too overconfident there and gives it away.
So Saligo will take over. Sorry, Gemmo.
No, I was just going to say that's the type of what they do. Like Sicily and Weddle, they get and they run. Eamon with his left foot too.
So Saligo went high to half forward, not very effectively. Meek came across the pack and took the defensive mark. Holds it up. Didn't have any options. Eventually the ruckman kicks it long down this broadcast side. Thought Keane wrapped up his man, but the umpire said no. Saligo with the ball inside, but the hand pass was good. Crows work it to Jones, who got it from Bond, and then inboard he went to the ruckman in O'Brien, who then went across the ground to find Laird. Wants another short option, straight into the centre circles. Michael Annie takes it and takes off straight away. Inside 50, wasn't the greatest of kick. Walker makes the most of it. He was a little unlucky there, Sicily. He read where the ball was going, but arrived maybe just a fraction too early. And Walker with a knee up, and Sicily felt it as he took the mark. Only 25 out.
I always get a little bit nervous when Big Rob O'Brien looks for the inside 45 kick, but he hit it, and what it does give him is full face of goal. Now, whether that kick from Michael Annie was meant for Tex Walker or not doesn't matter. The big man got about 3 centimetres off the ground then, I reckon.
He'll love to hear that. So there's Walker's kick for goal. He's got it out to the right, but just inside the goal post. Adelaide has their first. The Crows move up to 1-2-8. They trail Hawthorn by 4 points. The Hawks with 2 straight, 12. As we cross 9 minutes in the opening quarter on ABC Sport.
I think that's when Adelaide are at their best, aren't they? When they're just sort of going that 45, really short kick, turn and go, and you're right. I don't think that was intended. It actually should have gone to Zach Taylor, who was in space. It would have been a shorter kick, and Fogarty with the lead. And so I think Sicily was a little unlucky then. Jake Saligo, 5 disposals already, and multiple plays for the Hawks. It's now 15 to 26 disposals in favour of Adelaide, so they're starting to get more of the football in their hand.
Not a great couple of minutes there for the Hawks. So concede a goal to Taylor Walker, and over at the SCG, the Dogs are now up by 30. Makes it harder for them to scrape into the 8 this weekend. Still plenty of time to go, though, in the season. O'Brien taps it down straight to Day, though. Breaks away from Taylor. Penetrating kick into the 50 for the Hawks. Jones did well to get a fist on it on the drop. Borlase looks to gather. Moore wraps him up, brings him to ground. They're pleading for holding the ball. The umpire will circle. And Nick Brown pings him. Free kick to Hawthorn. 35 out, slightly to the left.
It's just ridiculous. Well, just looking at the replay here, he was tackled, the ball came loose, and I guess he pulled it back in, so I think that's why he was penalised.
I've checked out of the holding the ball rule a long time ago. I cannot keep up.
Yep.
And that one there again just blows your mind.
So McDonald, the secondary tackler, as he pulled it back in, and he's happy to take the shot at goal, considering he had 4 last week. McDonald comes in close to the man on the mark. Won't impact his shot at all. Straight over the goal umpire's hat. And the Hawks answer back immediately to go back up by 10. 3 straight 18 to the Crows, 1-2-8. 10 minutes played, opening terms. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts, Rod Jamieson and Scott Thompson.
Well, I thought the Hawks overused the football last week with their handball, but again, they were able to work their way through Collingwood. When Collingwood got it, they're really efficient. And already today, I think the Hawks have probably learnt in the dry weather. They've gone inside 50 now on 3 occasions for 3 straight goals and have looked dangerous, and they've done it quick.
And that was Will Day out of the centre again then, just with time and space. His ability to go from congestion to get to the outside, and Jamo used his legs that you touched on before. Deep entry and then the forward pressure. I think it was Moore initially who did bring the forward 50 pressure.
One showdown medal, Aaron, is a little bit hard to split in the box.
So, ball back there, and Nash slides into it, gathered it on the ground, rolled over, tackled. Umpire says no, that's not holding the ball. So, just towards the front end of the square for Hawthorn.
What do you got for me?
2 best and fairest, 1 showdown medal, and 1 All-Australian players are in the box.
Yep, that's it. Let's roll with that.
Scholl off the contest, took it, hand pass was just in the tackle. Warple eventually finished with it, put it down to half forward for Hawthorn. Saligo came through, tried to break the tackle, and hand pass he did, but it set up Jones. Hawthorn had an opportunity. Jones made the tackle on Bruce, who'd taken the ball, and so Adelaide take over in the back pocket. Jones short to the eastern side of the ground.
Great tackle by Jones too, because Bruce went low, trying to get above the shoulder.
Dinks it to Michael Annie. He'll share it with Dowling. Right half back in front of the Prosciutto stand. Hawks by 10. Dowling for the Crows down the line. Meek could have taken the uncontested mark as he floated in front of the pack, but spilt it late, and over the boundary line it goes. Listeners not happy on the text line, 0437 774 774, unnamed, but says the umps are blatantly cheating in the AFL. We're here, I have nothing of it. Obviously frustrated by the holding the ball decisions.
Could be talking about any match, to be fair.
Yeah,
Andrew Dillon said it's the best it's ever been.
Toss back in. Nash gets the clearance for the Hawks. Bouncing up to centre half forward. It's a little wider McDonald. And clean gather by Hinge for the Crows. Little 1-2 with Scholl up towards the broadcast wing. Wheels it inside. Nice kick to Keys. Got away from Sicily and then squares it up. Here they come up the spine. Dowling can run through the centre circle. High ball. Fogarty rises. Cleared him. At the back was Stillthorpe. He can hand it to Walker and he can run into an open goal. Smashes it into the hill. And Tex has 2. As do the Crows. 2-2-14. They trail Hawthorn 3 straight 18. 13 minutes played in the opening terms. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Great build-up off the half-back line there by the Crows. It was hinged. It was a beautiful pass under pressure that hit Keys. And that kick inside again, which we touched on earlier. Back inside to Dowling. Full face of goal. Gives you great options in the forward half. And takes a nice easy one out the back to finish the play.
The uncontested too, probably the one area that the Hawks struggle is really defending super hard and super tight. The uncontested is 21-10 already in this first quarter, only halfway through. The contested 15-10 in favour of Adelaide. So need to probably consider just shutting it down just for a couple of minutes and getting the game back on even keel.
Riley O'Brien taking a break. Himmelberg into the middle. And it's Meek with a tap down. And Nash with the clearance. Down to half forward he goes. Ball comes off the hands. Hawthorn trying to shake the tackle was Warple with no effect. Adelaide comes away. Breaking of tackles was Saligo. Just drove it to the front end of the centre square. Pack forms. Murphy almost off the pack. And now he makes the tackle. Oh, he got the ball out as well. Saligo smuggled it to Walker. Forward he went for Thilthorpe. Didn't quite get him. Thilthorpe now has to chase Giath. Good luck. Giath gets away with a hand pass wide. And the chip forward then by Amon.
Hits up Ward. Down the outer wing to Moore. Still just forward of left half back. And a ripping game against the Crows earlier in the year. Dylan Moore, 27 touches and 5 goals. And the Hawks, 27-point winner in round 12.
That left-hand forward handball through heavy traffic by Walker was exceptional. It was brilliant.
They switch the Hawks up to the broadcast wing. Newcomb, the fresh haircut, hands it off to Hardwick. Bangs it towards the 50. It'll bounce in a hole wide of Watson. Coming across Choa, 2 to beat. Tries to tackle ball. They slipped out, but the handball is poor. Straight to Watson. He pounces and kicks from 35. Harry Houdini, the wizard Watson, snatched it and kicked the goal into the Riverbank stand end, and the Hawks back up by 10. 4 straight 24. Adelaide 2-2-14. 15 minutes played opening terms. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts are Premiership, 2 best and fairest All-Australian and showdown medal between them. Rod Jamieson and Scott Thompson.
That was great forward 50 pressure by Watson. Now, I want to know, the Wizard, was that self-named?
Yes.
It was. So where did that come from?
Not sure, actually, but this was discussed last week as well. So, self-proclaimed Wizard. But remember his start too. He kicked, I think it was 6 or 7 behind, wasn't it?
Yes.
Possibly before he kicked his first goal.
Couldn't kick a goal. Now he can't miss.
Yeah.
Because that was a shocker of a left footer.
It was. It floated through, but nonetheless, his forward 50 energy then. So he went through the first contest, but his ability to stay involved when that loose handball came out of the back line for the Crows.
Jack Ginnivan on for his first run.
O'Brien in the middle again. Adelaide with the clearance. Yes, Laird just broke a tackle. Now he's got some time as he faked a hand pass, got away from Warple. Long he went. There's holding, and it'll be an Adelaide free kick. Scrimshaw at fault for Hawthorn. And Riley Thilthorpe will shoot from 25 out straight in front. No, just to the left.
He's returning, wasn't he, from a serious knee? What's his third game back now? Maybe just love to see him really start to just get at the contest rather than sit and wrestle. He's going to be big and strong. He's currently out-wrestled too many, but I think he can win some easier football if he's more proactive.
Well, Scrimshaw giving away 7 centimetres to Thilthorpe. Can Thilthorpe take advantage in terms of the kick? It's away to the right, poor. And Adelaide suffering at the moment, 2-3-15 now. Charles Hawthorn, 4 straight 24, gone through 17 minutes in the opening quarter.
Over at the SCG half-time, and the Western Bulldogs lead the Swans by 36 points. They'll find their way towards the 8. As a result, if they can hang on. Hawthorn clear to the outer side. Spun in the tackle. Ward got it out today. Bangs it towards the 50. One-on-one. Jones battling with Watson. The 2 small attacker and defenders entangled, and it's knocked over the boundary line. 40 out. Riverbank stand in at the moment for the Hawks, which is the right-hand side of your radio dial. They're up by 9. Looking lively early against a predominantly home crowd in favour of the Crows. Good afternoon for it, Jamo.
It's a good-sized crowd, isn't it? Went to the local footy yesterday as well, when over Norwood in the SNFL.
Tossed in, was a little shallow in the end of Nash, who was rucking up against O'Brien. Both put a boot down, and it rolls to Warple, who's caught in a tackle.
It's a good crowd there.
O'Brien wins it down. Moore crunched by Laird. He almost relinquished the tackle knowing it was high, and the non-controlling umpire has come in from all the way back at left half back to pay it. He's another world. He's on O'Connell Street and has paid the high tackle, which will result in a set shot for the Hawks.
That is crazy. So you've got one umpire, or the 4 central umpires, all 3 are down inside centre-half forward for Hawthorn. The umpire that's called it is on the half-back flank.
My goodness. Dylan Moore will happily take the opportunity from 50. Leans back on the kick and cashes in. Oh, they won't like that at the Adelaide Oval. The Hawks won't care, though. Up by a game high 15. 5 straight 30. Hawthorn play Adelaide 2-3-15 as we approach time on in the opening terms. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans, Neil Cross, Rod Jamison, Scott Thompson and Liz Walsh with you. On the text line, Trevor in the Sunshine Coast says, when I was much younger, I remember if a player lost control of the ball, it was a free kick for dropping the ball, and I don't see it anymore. Has the rule changed? It has in terms of the interpretation, Trevor, because they want players to get rid of the ball so they're not dumped and concussed. If they drop it, they're actually happy to let it go these days.
Well, it should be incorrect disposal, which is then termed as holding the ball. So it should be a free.
But it's totally disappeared.
That has disappeared. They say if you're trying to dispose of the ball and it does come out incorrectly, it will be called play on.
Back in the middle, it's play on, and ball comes off the ruck contest, and
which I don't like at all. If the perfect tackle's laid, it should be holding the ball.
Secondary ball up now, forward. Rochelle flips a hand pass out wide for Scholl. Jath is with him, took him away from the ball and threw him down, and that's a free kick to Adelaide. So Scholl pretty much at left half forward. Inboard he goes with the kick. About 25 from goal. Another huge pack. Weddle off the pack. Just boots it out and it should come back, and it will. Intercept mark taken by Nankervis. And Nankervis, no leads as such, just drops it hard and low inside forward 50. Weddle came, couldn't get it. Murphy picks it up to Himmelberg by hand, then back to Taylor, across the body, and back in the goal square. Taking it comfortably in the end was Frost, and he goes out to the scoreboard pocket.
Scrimshaw's there, turns and looks to the outer wing, kick his paws. He hooked it around the body, straight to the diving Chase Jones.
Was poor too. Scrimshaw on the left. He's preferred. I thought, here they go. They had 2 out, but kicked it straight to Jones.
Hawks by 15, and Adelaide's going inside 50. Jones with the long ball. Fogarty clunks it in a pack of players. Stuck out both mitts, and it landed straight in. He's 20 out. Slide angle to the right.
The 3 tools, Tomo, actually, it's probably Adelaide's advantage, isn't it? Because Sicily wants to be that second or third up, like he will leave his man. So if they just go to that, they've gone inside 50. I felt they've gone to congested areas, but sort of see what they're trying to do.
The stand-in skipper, Darcy Fogarty, hits the post. He blasted that. Ferocity in the set shot results in an error. And Adelaide moved to 2-4-16, trailing Hawthorn 5 straight 30. Time on in the opening term, Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
So Amon looks to this broadcast side, goes on the play on and kicks it out of bounds on the full. He was looking maybe for Weddle, but he cleared him quite nicely. And here's that pocket so famous for Ben Key's shot at goal last season. And he's got it in his hands again. And plays on, goes out to his left foot, uses a drop punt, and there's no mistake about that one. No mistake at all from Ben Keys. He's delivered a goal. Adelaide's third of the afternoon. 3-4-22 Adelaide. The Hawks 5 straight 30, 8-point margin, 22 minutes in opening quarter at the Adelaide Oval on ABC Sport. Your experts Scott Thompson and Rod Jamison.
Great finish there by Keys, and he's one player that would be feeling very, very comfortable in his own skin at the moment. His last month of footy has been brilliant. Around goals, he's been brilliant. One rule I struggle with is that stand of the mark. The fact that that Hawthorn player there cannot move laterally at all when Keys rolls around is just far too easy to play against. And the manning the mark used to be a skill which has been taken away, and it's too much an advantage. Great finish, don't get me wrong, but too much of an advantage for the side that's holding possession of the ball.
Hawks by 8. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. O'Brien down, only found Day. Arches the back on Saligo. Sends Hawthorn inside 50. Rising in front. Hinge put it down. Freed up Weddle. Handed it off towards McDonald. Skied it with the belly of the ball. Moore launched in. Couldn't control it. Nash trying to barge through 3. Gave it away. And Bond barrels his way into a contest. Bounces out. And the kick is tremendous. Curls it to Walker behind centre wing on the broadcast side, but he's played on into trouble. Has to get around McDonald, did well. High ball in the Himmelberg direction. He claims it at its highest point. Too far out to score. Will pop it towards the top of the goal square. Floating across, Thilthorpe put it down front square. Murphy snaps and goals. From 20 out, Lockie Murphy's on the board. Just like that, Hawthorn's 15-point lead has been reduced to just 2. 4-4-28 the Crows. The Hawks 5 straight 30. 24 played opening term Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, they're probably a little bit lucky, Adelaide, then. That kick that came out that Taylor Walker marked, and he was around and going. They were able to defend it. But I think the real weakness of the Hawks here too, when Adelaide go fast, the Hawks cannot defend well enough at the moment. So that's a big area that they need to improve, not only for the season, but today. Otherwise, this could get away.
And you touched on the Crows' height in their forward half, Jamo, and that was one concern for me coming into the game with Thilthorpe, Himmelberg, Walker, all very tall players, how they manage that, and Fogarty as well. But what it has done, Hawthorn are probably a little undersized there, but Fogarty then gets a lesser defender. Thilthorpe takes a big guy, and it really helps them in the forward half if they bring the ground level pressure.
O'Brien in the middle with a tap down, led with a hand pass. Picked up by Taylor back inside. Wasn't great, but the tackle was made and the pressure on Day. Now it's D'Ambrosio. Can't get the kick away cleanly. It's out on centre wing on the eastern side. Great pick up there by Murphy. Gave it to Michaelani. Down looking for Himmelberg. Had a claim from the back. Almost running it over the line was Impey for Hawthorn. Gave it to Amon, the two former Port players. Poor hand pass from Amon. Back inside 50 for Adelaide. Ball goes towards Cook. He's picked it up on the scoreboard pocket. Off to Rochelle by hand. Taken down by Weddle in a really good tackle. And so he'll have to surrender the ball, Rochelle. It'll be Hawthorn taking over as we close in on quarter time.
Thought his effort just 30 seconds earlier too on Jarman Impey wasn't ideal. It just allowed him to run and get around him on the boundary.
Hawks by 2. Weddle launches it towards the outer side as the sun really starts to creep into the Adelaide Oval. Brought to ground. Scholes there for Adelaide. Chips it on the 45 to Murphy. Kick away from a score. He will load up into the pocket. Not sure who to. Walker was incensed by it as it lands in the lap of Day. Marks uncontested in front of the scoreboard. A West Adelaide product and the reigning best and fairest for the Hawks. Sure, plenty of South Australians would love them to have him at their club as he kicks out a defensive 50. Michaelani fumbled on the drop, and a tackle laid will hold things up as Murphy gets a hold of McDonald. Will reset close to the paint of the 50 for the Crows. Northern end, left-hand side of your radio dial. They're down by 2. Berry puts his head over it. He's wrapped up by Moore. He goes again. Couple of tackles there. Pad the stats in front of the Wanganeen stand.
Lockie Murphy just creates a whole lot of energy, and he's a real genuine high half forward too, that when he doesn't have the footy, he's defending really hard.
Out of the pack, Berry got a little hand pass to Saligo, and he goes into that scoreboard pocket again. Days picked it up, and he was brought down by Thilthorpe, but he was over the line with the ball. So it'll come back 25 around from the goal face for the throw in. The old, beautiful old Adelaide scoreboard in the background. Adelaide 4-4. Hawthorn 5 straight goals to start the game. Adelaide have found their groove in the last 10 minutes or so. O'Brien off the ruck contest, down to the front, over the boundary line again, as you were.
And that's a luxury Hawthorn have with Day. They've sent him behind the ball now. He's deep in the back half. But his flexibility that he gives the Hawthorn side, not only around the ball, but his aerial ball and his intercept work in the back half is really impressive. And we've seen that on the last 2 occasions inside the back 50 for Hawthorn.
Thoughts of 250 game Crow. Scott Thompson there as it's tossed back in. Walker won it down. High tackle, possibly 45 out from goal. It's paid. As Newcombe stuck an arm out and caught Jake Saligo. He'll pop up and take his set shot. Tight angle to the right as he looks into the sun.
For his 11th disposal, still with 3.5 minutes remaining, but this is where, I guess, to the advantage. If you can play football in your forward half and just hit through the contest, you're every chance to end up having a shot on goal.
Saligo starts in front of the Wanganeen stand, crosses the paint of 50, will kick across the face. They converge on the behind line. Walker nearly clunks it. Is it towed through on the line by Dowling? He's claiming it. Play continues. The Hawks trying to rip it away. The umpires have no idea what's going on. And finally, someone stopped play and says, let's go check the score review. Hawthorn wanted to keep going. It had ricocheted almost back into play. I reckon Dowling may have kicked it into the goal umpire.
So I think it's a goal.
In agreement with that too, I reckon. Was it a left foot Dowling off the ground?
Ooh. In the midst of Impey and Jaff, Dowling has stuck a boot out.
Yes.
He's made contact, and then Scrimshaw's paddled it back in.
Scrimshaw's 2 foot behind the line.
Yeah, the shot from the goalpost will be the one that'll tell us the story.
Did he actually get his foot to it, though?
Hit his shin, I think.
He's definitely made some sort of contact. So we just need the goal line angle. Here it is.
That won't help you kicking efficiently.
And Dan's blocking with his body, so it's a little tricky to know.
Get the one on the other side now.
Oh, did the whole ball go over the line, though?
Doesn't look like it, but Dowling's blocking the angle of the camera with his back. He's done everything he possibly could to get the goal, except for leave himself clear. He may have to go with the goal umpire's decision here, which at the time wasn't a call at all. He had no idea it had stopped and was happy to let play continue.
Now they're going to see from this angle.
Are they going to say, I think they're going to say the ball actually struck his knee.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're looking at now from that angle from the goalpost cam.
It's a big call. We've got 3 minutes to play in this term, and this will put Adelaide in front if it is a goal.
What about this angle here? Looks like they're looking at it from the middle of the ground.
This feels like a short
over
bill.
his shoulder.
What was the umpire's initial call?
Well, I think they just allowed him to play on, didn't they?
I'll just say, judging by the crowd, it's going to be ruled as a behind.
Here we go. Official decision on the scoreboard, but they're setting up to bring it back into play, the Hawks. And they have called it a behind. So that'll make Hawthorn's lead just the singular point. 5 straight 30 to 4-5-29. 30 minutes played in this opening term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
And they're saying it was rushed.
Amon went out wide with the ball. It'll come back though. Jones with the left footer inside 50. Comes off hands. Head pass out from Saligo. Through Scholl to Walker. On the snap from the scoreboard pocket. Has hit the post. High up. The goal post. High up for another behind. Adelaide has done it the hard way. Hawthorn's kicked 5 straight 30. Adelaide's got 4, 6-30 as we close in on quarter time.
Last 5 scoring opportunities the way of the Crows. Hawthorn just need to settle here.
Time in possession last 10 minutes, 51% to 10%. It's been all Adelaide.
Day to Amon. Long ball to the outer side and floating in front. Strong mark. Cutting it off in front by Deer. Close to the boundary line at left half back. The youngster for the Hawks leans back on the kick off a couple of steps. O'Brien gets in front of Meat, cuts it off. It's called touch. He didn't realise tackle, dropped it, then becomes the tackler himself. Did well. Held things up close to the logo on the outer side. So scores level, 30 points apiece. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Especially good tackle was Ginnivan. Expect him to be taken high every time. Alf, the next ruck contest, it was O'Brien who got it out. Just behind centre wing for Hawthorn. They've moved it through their hands. Warple tries to break away without success. Berry took him down. Play on advantage. Rochelle inside forward 50. And Philthorpe takes the mark on the lead. Just for a moment, Walker was out, but he was held up, Philthorpe. So Walker was out heading for the goal square. What a tackle, what a rundown tackle by Berry, though, that set up this opportunity for the Crows, who could take the lead into quarter time.
I thought Rochelle's kick was almost going to go over his head, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looked like it. But
big gorilla arms.
The long arms went up, but the Crows' pressure on the ball carrier in the last 5 to 10 minutes has just gone to another level, and they have certainly played the game in their forward half.
Philthorpe, second shot for goal in the opening term, and he doesn't miss this one. A little bit further out than the first attempt. Kick through it. There's a goal for Adelaide. They've taken the lead. The Crows, 5-6-36. Hawthorn, 5 goals straight. 30. We played 32. Coming up 33 minutes now in the opening term. On the boundary for ABC Sport is Liz Walsh.
All's been pretty quiet on the benches down here for this term, injury-wise. However, keep an eye on Luke Bruce. He spent a good 4 or 5 minutes on the physio mat down here. Seemed to be a bit of trouble with his groin. The other one is Connor Nash, who, while that score review was going on just before he came from the ground, his right knee was looked at by the Hawks doctor, so we'll keep a close eye on that.
Yeah, the Hawks need to find a way. At the minute they'll be screaming for quarter time to come around. Will Day, 8 disposals. Carl Amon on the halfback, 7. But Ginnivan, Chol have not even touched the footy in this quarter.
The last 3 goals the way of the Crows, and they're up by 6. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Beautiful bounce in the middle. Both Meek and O'Brien get a hand on it. Spills down towards Newcombe for the Hawks. Thrusts the handball in the path of Jaff on centre wing, broadcast side. Sidesteps his way past Dowling. Low and hard. He chisels it up towards Scholl. Awkward bounce. He's paddled it straight to Michael Annie. And the Crows can reset. Hinge out of defensive 50. Looking for Rochelle. Knocked away by Impey. Jaff gets it wide. The kick comes inside 50 for the Hawks. And a good rise from Nankervis. Racing out to meet it. They'll switch in the sunshine, in front of the Riverbank stands, to the right back pocket to Scholl. He can chip it now to Cook. Still inside defensive 50, but close to the Rashudo stand.
So Cook will assess. Remember, later in the quarter, he's decided won't go back and across. Will go straight down the line on that eastern side. Off hands, Meek takes it for Hawthorn. He's wrapped up straight away by Thilthorpe. The umpire will come in, throw the ball up. Thilthorpe needs to work on his basketball shots. He just threw that one hook shot over the head for the umpire and missed him by about 1.5 metres.
Boomers went all right too, Crossy.
Well, it started all right. There's a long way to go in the Olympics, as we know. Hawthorn down to half forward with a scrub kick. Keane just sees it out ahead of Chol over the line. Remains out in the sunshine there on the eastern side of the Adelaide Oval. We close in on quarter time, 6th the margin in favour of Adelaide after they trailed until, 32 minutes into this opening term.
And that'll take us to the first break. 5-6, 36 Adelaide. The Hawks 5 straight 30. The goal scorers 2 to Tex Walker. Singles to Thilthorpe, Murphy and Keys. For the Hawks, 2 to Bruce. And individual goals to Moore, McDonald and Watson. Great to have your company this afternoon in Adelaide, around the country, around the globe on ABC Sport. The text line 0437 774 774. Grant is listening in Hobart, says it's 7 degrees, rain, hail, wind and snow on Mount Wellington. A great day to listen to the footy on the ABC.
Glass of red.
Simon in the York Peninsula is enjoying the call. Says it's crazy how every game I listen to, the expert commentary team constantly refer to the interpretation and inconsistency of umpiring, yet we see it get worse week by week. It is ruining the game, and it often leads to games being decided by senseless umpiring decisions. And Fran from Melbourne's got in touch, says enjoying the call. Come on Crows, supporting them this afternoon. Obviously she's a Pies supporter, Fran, and believes that Hawthorn losing will give them the best chance to get into the A. So says go Crows. That's from Fran in Melbourne. 0437 774 774 if you do want to get in touch. There is another game happening at the moment as well. Third term about to get underway at the SCG between the Swans and the Dogs. You can hear it on the Listen app. Currently the Western Bulldogs leading by 36 points, 7-7-49 to 2-1-13. So the ladder leading Swans could lose 3 of their last 4 games, and the Western Bulldogs currently on the live ladder are in the 8. And the Hawks, when they were leading, were behind them by about 9%. And now that Adelaide's hit the front, they're way back down in 12th once again. So still plenty to play out as we close in on the conclusion to round 20. It's the Crows by 6 on ABC Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
It's the most magical time of the year, right? Footy season. This season you can get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. Unbelievable. AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered. He bounces it through. Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sport's expert commentary team.
A wonderful goal! Game, set, bingo!
100% pure footy, live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
O'Brien won it down, only found Bruce, who brushes off the Nankervis tackle and was tripped as a result. Methodical approach for the 3-time Premiership Hawk. Bruce pops it low and hard. Through for the first goal of the afternoon.
Quick transition by the Hawks. Bruce around on the right foot. Hooks it back towards goal on the line, over the line. That'll be a goal. Inside 50 wasn't the greatest of kick. Walker makes the most of it. So there's Walker's kick for goal. He's got it out to the right, but just inside the goal post. Adelaide has their first.
High ball, Fogarty rises, cleared him. At the back was Thilthorpe. He can hand it to Walker, and he can run into an open goal. But the handball is poor, straight to Watson. He pounces and kicks from 35. Harry Houdini, the wizard Watson, snatched it and kicked the goal.
And here's that pocket so famous for Ben Key's shot at goal last season. And he's got it in his hands again. and plays on. Goes out to his left foot, uses a drop punt, and there's no mistake about that one. No mistake at all from Ben Keys.
Will pop it towards the top of the goal square, floating across. Thilthorpe put it down front square. Murphy snaps and goals.
Rochelle inside forward 50, and Thilthorpe takes the mark on the lead. Thilthorpe, second shot for goal in the opening term, and he doesn't miss this one.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Cracking contest to conclude round 20. The Hawks with a hot start. They're up by 15 points halfway into the opening term. The Crows kick the last 3 to now lead by 6. 5-6-36 to Hawthorn's 5 straight 30. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross calling the action for you for Sunday footy on ABC Sport. And your experts, over 400 games combined for the Crows, Rod Jamieson and Scott Thompson, to break it all down here at the Adelaide Oval.
It was a great start by Hawthorn. Their inside 50 percentage of entries to score was very, very high early on. But from halfway through that quarter, towards the end of that quarter, the Crows certainly controlled the play, and it started from their pressure on the ball. The numbers now: contested possession, Crows plus 12, uncontested possession plus 16. So they're getting a very, very good look around the contest, and when they're not winning it, they're applying serious heat on Hawthorn, which is allowing them to play the game in their forward half. And with that, which I thought was a concern with their tall targets in the forward half, all of them have had an impact. Walker's kicked 2. Thilthorpe's had 2 shots on goal for a goal. Fogarty's hit the post. Himmelberg's had some moments. And then with the forward pressure with Lockie Murphy and Ben Keys, both of them already hit the scoreboard as well. So they're getting a very good look in their forward half from probably an undersized man Hawthorn defence.
Just too many players in the Hawks team at the moment just haven't done enough and got enough on the football at the moment, and particularly their Keys and out forward, albeit Brewster's had 2 and he's kicked 2 goals. There hasn't been much coming. Watson's only had the 2 and he's got the 1, and they did move it quickly, but Adelaide have been able to stifle it. They've actually kicked it in high when they've gone into their forward 50, which is not ideal. You got Marvell Chol is really the only key tall up there that they could genuinely go to. Deer's got a little bit of height around him, but what we saw last week was they were able to go in real quick football along the ground, and just their speed in the forward half to create their goals. I think the marks inside 50 last week, the Hawks only had 5 and Collingwood had 13. Already 4 to Adelaide and only 1 to the Hawks.
The Crows by 6 here at the Adelaide Oval. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Meek wins the tap down out of the middle, straight to Newcomb, who hands it off to Day. Breaking out of the middle. He'll kick wide. Put it in the path of Wet. Awkward bounce for him. Did well to get it back in the end. Was it a throw from Watson? Yes. Tighten the pocket in front of the scoreboard. They've given it away to the Crows, and Nankervis will switch quickly. Front of the hill. Shares it with Ball Ace, and now to the broadcast wing. Keys caught behind, did well to bring it to ground against Hardwick, and then wraps him up with a strong tackle. Nice and safe as he escorts him to the turf. We'll get a ball up close to the attacking edge for the Hawks.
O'Brien against Meek. They lock arms. The ruckman got it away. A little toe poke from Shell, puts it out in the open. Day picked it up, tried to shake the tackle. Taylor held on and got him. Good work from the young South Australian recruit. So he goes back, just looks inboard, nothing available. Call to play on. Down the line he goes, and from deep came Thilthorpe with no luck. Weddle stood under the ball and took a nice mark. He holds it up for Hawthorn. At left half back, switches on. He goes back inside 50, but across the ground as well. Scrimshaw with the mark. He drops it in short off his right foot. Taken by Impey immediately. Forward hand pass, McDonald. Then off to Ward. Lead up came from Moore. They're at right half forward on the eastern side.
Moore looking for options inside. In the end goes towards the 50. Flirting with the boundary line. Big tunnel there as Nankervis crashed into the back of McDonald. They'll take the advantage because it's spilled to the back. And Watson in the tight angle has hit the post. It's running across the scoreboard looking for something flashy. In the end, it's just the minor score for the Hawks. They trail by 5, and Adelaide looks to exit quickly through the outer side.
Hinge has it, and then he goes long down the line, and mark taken by Impey going back very late from Fogarty. Just tapped it out of his hands, but it does slow down the play for the Crows.
Luke Nankervis, he's only just got up. The wind out of himself.
Impey plays on. goes into the forward pocket. Oh, there was a big push out in the middle of the pack, and it'll be Deer with the push. And it'll be Hinge with the free kick for Adelaide. So that gives us a chance to go down to Liz Walsh on the boundary.
Yeah, Connor Nash is still on the bench down here. He finished the first term on the bench too. Bit of a concern over his right knee. He's had strapping applied. Should be back out there again soon.
Not the best way to spend your 28th birthday. As Hinge goes through defensive 50. He's kicked to Keane, who tried to sidestep Scholl. Got shirt front for his troubles. Kicked it in the end to Michael Annie. Down the broadcast wing go the Crows, and Thilthorpe is pushed into the ball drop. Free kick goes his way. No one standing the mark, so he'll happily race forward. Take a rare bounce. It looked a bit quirky, but it came back to him. Into the 50. Fogarty caught behind Impey. Sicily front and square, handed it straight to Murphy. The Crows fighting now as it bounces off a couple of bodies. Fogarty will wrench it out. Retreats back to Scholl, who's spear tackled by Day. Weddle caught as well by Fogarty. And it's too high. Free kick to the young Hawk at left half back.
A little bit stiff there, but the Crows' intent to get at the ball carrier in their forward half is certainly very high pressure at the moment.
Weddle goes sideways to Sicily within 5 or 6 metres of the boundary. Now he goes back into the defensive arc of 50 to Frost, who drops it short and wide back to where Sicily was, and Impey's now taken it.
Newcombe and Ginnivan Cross, you've had haircuts.
They have.
They don't even look like
No, it's a little bit different, especially Newcombe. Not so much Ginnivan even. Here's Newcombe will fly with the ball as the kick goes down the line. Day trying to wrestle his man for the ball, and in the end it's a tackle completed by Laird after Scholl started the work. Right near the interchange gates, we'll get a ball up.
Just the one touch for Ginnivan, fresh off his career best 31. Didn't get all the coaches' votes, though. I think Craig McRae was a bit bitter, didn't want to give him the 5. Tossed up close to the boundary line.
I gave him 3.
Ball out of the stoppage, rolls a kick forward, and it's knocked over. So Hawthorn down by 5 at the moment. Crows 5-6-36 to the Hawks 5-1-31. A couple of texts rolling through. Paul's listening in Kyoto. 38 degrees and humid, go Crows. We've got another listener in Vietnam. Let us know your name. Says, really enjoying the call while listening in a sports bar. It's 35 degrees there.
That's a bit of me.
Getting very envious from these texts. Toss back in. Crows by 5. O'Brien wins it down. Saligo at the drop. Came the tackler.
I'm a little bit jealous of the 35 degrees sitting in a sports bar with the footy too. Cold pint sitting in front of me.
What's wrong with the ABC Sport Box, Tomo?
Yeah, after the game.
D'Ambrosio wrapped up in the tackle, so we'll get a ball up. It's tapped down to Day this time. It is set upon by a couple of Crows. See if third time's the charm. Robin Sydney's texted in, sent us a few pictures as well of some birds. Says, love my birds, enjoying the call coming from dry Adelaide. The wonderful rise of the Hawks has kept me enthralled. Tap down, goes the way of Ginnivan. Here's his second touch of the afternoon. A check side that's bouncing into the 50. A little wide of McDonald. He's wrestling against 3 and Dowling wins out. Hands it to Hinge, and here come the Crows on the counter punch. He bangs it through the spine and gets a kind bounce. It was supposed to go to Scrimshaw for the Hawks. Went right over his head. Rochelle turns away from Impey and is caught by Weddle. Ran out of room in the phone box, and the Hawks now get a chance on the turnover.
Scrimshaw out wide. Fountain Moore. Inboard he goes. The hand pass back. Hawks will get the half forward. Ward wants his left foot. Oh, he just got a hand pass away in time. Adelaide with the pressure. Picked up by Thilthorpe. Hand pass off to Taylor. Got around one and then a wobbly old kick. If that goes out, it'll be insufficient intent. He tried to check side it to half forward, but only succeeded getting the belly of the ball. It went wide and out, and Impey will take the free kick for the Hawks.
I would have preferred maybe just a screw punt to centre half forward and just get some distance and go for grass.
Yeah, there's been a few interesting kick choices. Ginnivan's was so dangerous a moment ago inside Hawthorn's forward 50 because a turnover just exposed him too much back the other way.
Impey to Newcombe, spears it to Walpole through the logo on centre wing. Now Weddle goes high into the scoreboard pocket for the Hawks. Keane got front position, brought it down and gathered clean. Handball off to Michael Annie. Back to Nan Curvis. And out to right half back they go. Kick had to be perfect and it was pinpoint to Fogarty. Had Frost right behind him breathing down his neck. His delivery isn't as good. Straight up the broadcast wing to Hardwick, who happily knocks it out of play. Boundary throw in to come. Crows by 5. Just the one behind so far in the opening 7 minutes of this term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport over at the SCG. The Dogs still up by 36 over the Swans.
7 minutes, Aaron, you said, and 5 inside 50 to the Hawks. So not as efficient as they were in the first quarter, with only the one behind in this second term.
Adelaide able to break away through Saligo. Got a hand pass forward to Berry towards the top of the 50. Saligo and Newcomb, meanwhile, behind the play going at it. Amon's got it for Hawthorn. He sends it down the line. Saligo jumped into her opponent's back. Umpire still letting it go. Nash picks it up for Hawthorn. Slung the ball forward, not thinking that was a hand pass either. And now Newcomb makes the tackle and forces Chase Jones into the ground. Ginnivan didn't help coming over the top as well. We'll get a ball up. It's near the interchange gate. Seems like the last 5 minutes has been played right in front of us on this side of the ground.
Mick taps it down, looking for Jaff. Handball out and a high tackle.
Unsociable Hawks.
Warple caught Keys. He was happy to let him know about it as well.
It's as high as you're ever going to see, I think, too.
Free kick to Ben Keys. Forward of a centre wing broadcast side. Will send Adelaide inside 50. Fogarty's his target. Rose above his teammate there. Poor Cook was the stepping ladder and couldn't take the mark. Spills down to Laird. They'll go again. Back inside 50. Knocked away from Dowling. Front square Keys. Kick too low. Ricochets off Sicily. Speaking it too high. Himmelberg came in and collected Watson, who did slip a little bit. Almost dropped the knee, but it was always going to happen when the big man tried to take on the little guy.
Aaron, he certainly dropped a knee there and exploited the rule beautifully.
Well, he's only up to his belly button as it is.
What is he, 4'6"?
Crows by 5, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. The thoughts of Scott Thompson and Rod Jamison there.
5'8" with an afro.
Jaff received the ball from a short pass. Down the line he goes. It's still on this broadcast side. Riley O'Brien with a rare left foot kick inside forward 50. Rochelle was knocked off the ball. It allowed Jaff to take the mark.
Very clever and subtle by Carl Amon then, just to protect the space.
Jaff called to play on now. Brings it down this broadcast side again. At the front, Scholl got up unopposed. Took a nice mark in front of the pack. Now he can play on with a hand pass wider. Amon with a bounce near the interchange gates. Takes a second. Nobody coming at him. Takes a third. O'Brien loping around beside him. Amon's kick inside 50 wasn't great, but was effective. McDonald gave it off. Newcomb from right on 50. Long bomb goal. Hawks hit back and retake the lead. 6-1-37 Hawthorn. Adelaide 5-6-36. 9 minutes down in the second term at the Adelaide Oval. And snap, there they are, back in front.
Very dangerous kick going inside 50 by Amon then, but what I would have loved to have seen was someone come at the ball carrier when Amon was coming down the wing. I understand the concern would have been to create the overlap and speed up the ball movement, but that next layer just had to come. So if one went and the next came, that pressure on the ball would have made it either a flighted kick or a rush kick inside forward 50 versus unpressured, easy entry, end result goal.
It's almost like his shoulder just sort of sat in front of him about 10 metres and ran with him and just looked over his left shoulder and didn't. So to your point, and his kick, normally Carl Amon is dead eye.
Beautiful kick.
But that one rubbered in and into a bit of space.
Hawks by a point in the middle. O'Brien taps it down the throat of Laird, who brushes off Meek, strong in the body, hands it forward to his big man O'Brien at half forward, kicks in, a little bit hot for Rochelle. Was he taken high? Sicily stuck a fist in. He milked it for all it was worth, and Rochelle's been paid the contact free kick straight in front, 25 out.
Oh, it was probably a little harder than I thought. He did give him a bit of a whack, but got to sit under those. I don't want to be critical. Well, yeah, he needs to sit under the footy and needs to do things a bit better than what he's currently doing, doesn't he? He does overemphasise if he does get knocked off the football. And I know he likes to celebrate and play up a little bit, but he needs to back up the work that he does when he gets hold of it. He's got to do it better.
You'd hope he doesn't get stuck in on this one because it was an absolute gift. Rochelle comes in and converts. And no special celebration on that one as well. He knows it was a gimme. And it puts Adelaide back in front. Up by 5 once again with our third lead change of the afternoon. 6-6-42 to the Hawks, 6-1-37. 11 minutes played second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts, two-time best and fairest Scott Thompson, Premiership Crow Rod Jamison.
The uncontested footy in the first quarter, 46-32 in favour of Adelaide. They sort of swung it around a little bit now. The Hawks are 27-13 in their favour in the second quarter, but where they are applying the pressure, Adelaide, is the tackling 12-5.
So the former Murray Bushranger with a bit of a steal for Adelaide with that goal. Some 5 points up. Been an entertaining game though. Like 12 minutes into the second quarter, 12 goals between the two clubs. Back in the middle, Himmelberg's come into the ruck contest, and it'll be Meek to take it away. Slips a hand pass for Warple. Oh, he pushed off Berry. He's kicked the half forward, wasn't fantastic. Ball on the ground now. McDonald. Then it's fetched out to Himmelberg from Michaelani, I think it was, and Michaelani, or rather Himmelberg, wrapped up in the tackle at right half forward for the Hawks. Eastern side of the ground, ball goes in the air. Players have to shade themselves from the sinking sun. It's come out to Rochelle off his left leg wide and out on the full. Won't be happy with that. And Phil Thorpe, who was ahead of the play and away from his man, wasn't happy with it either.
Until that sun's causing some issues because Sicily is doing his best to shield his eyes and spot a target. Looking for a player in white in the retro Guernsey, the Hawks. He's done well, spotted up Meek, but just couldn't reel it in. Did enough to gather and paddle it towards Jaff. Handed it forward. Bruce trying to paddle it off to Deer. Becomes the tackler on Keane. Spun him 360. Ball comes out. Adelaide have the numbers. Although Hinge is unable to find enough space to get a clean disposal, and it's knocked over the boundary line. At the SCG, the Swans and the Dogs trading goals, but it isn't hurting the margin. The Western Bulldogs still up by 36, closing in on time on in the third term there.
Oh, no, I thought the Swans were half a chance to get back into it after the head starts they've given teams up there. Been able to get it back.
Generally start slow and fight their way back into contests, but the Dogs are holding firm. Toss back in. Throw a blanket over them. Finally ripped out of there by Warple. Jammed it forward. Borlace got a fist straight towards Bruce. Caught in the tackle of Nankervis. Got it away to Chol. Fend off on Borlace. Handed it off to McDonald. Now Watson fell over trying to get away from Hinge. He's flung it away looking for D'Ambrosio. And it rolls over the boundary line.
I'll tell you what, he brings energy, Watson. You just don't know what's going to happen next, though.
I don't know if his teammates know what's going to happen either. Great pressure, Adelaide.
Not sure that disposal wouldn't have been welcomed in a rugby sevens game, but anyway, ball back in. Meek just knocks it to the front. Bruce was running through, may have got a foot to the ball in the end, but it's out of bounds beside the left behind post. Hawthorn attacking the northern end of the ground. We'll get a throw in.
Want to be running into any of those rugby 7 Fiji players either. All right. And they've got some toe.
Big boys and hit very, very hard.
Meek again brings it down. Bruce has it, surrounded by a couple of Crows. Bring him to the ground. Saligo, Nankervis. Another ball up, close to goal.
Adelaide by 5. Tossed into the air. Meek gets a hand on it. Nash quickly becomes the tackler on Berry. Try again. Bit of the energy sucked out of the crowd here. Just look to get any sort of territory either side. Deep in the 50 for the Crows. Meek wins it down. Or for the Hawks, I should say. Meek won it down. He's looking for Ginnivan, and he's wrapped up. Just doesn't look himself with the haircut, does he at all? Jack Ginnivan, he's a totally new man. Pop back up, and Meek again wins the tap. He's dominating Himmelberg, but just isn't finding a clear player. Scholl got the exit for Adelaide, but only as far as Scrimshaw, sliding in left half forward. One of the best in the league for intercepts, ranked 5th. Great season for him.
Over 9 minutes remaining in this second quarter. It's just 1 goal apiece.
Scrimshaw hooks it to the top of the goal square. 2-on-2 there off hands. Scholl looking to barge through. Did enough. Got it to Deer. Threw it on the boot. 5 out. Straight through. And the Hawks hit the front. 4 lead changes either side of quarter time. And we're going goal for goal in this second term. Hawthorn by 1, 7-1-43 to the Crows, 6-6-42. 16 minutes played in the second quarter. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts, Rod Jamieson and Scott Thompson.
That was a goal, a little bit of something out of nothing. I know they've had the ball in their forward half and they've penetrated the forward 50 numerous times in the last few minutes, Hawthorn, but that goal, just a strong aerial ball, and Chol very clean off the contest, released Deer into only minimal space, and a quality finish.
And Will Day was so prolific in the first quarter. Warple, 5 disposals now. Newcomb, 4. Jaff, 4. Impey, again, he's run and rebound 4. And Scrimshaw off the back line with 4 too. Chol's had 3. So a couple of players that we asked to get a hold of the football to get the Hawks back in are starting to do so.
Statistically, the second quarter, the best performed quarter for the Hawks. Out of the middle, they'll go forward again. Off the pack, taken by Watson. He couldn't get breakaway, though. Crows had him. Now Nankervis, wobbly old kick across the goals. It worked in the end. Dowling slid in on the knees and took the mark in the right back pocket. So an opportunity to spread the ball the other side, but instead went down the line. Weddle in the middle of the pack. Picked up by Day. Handball effectively to himself. Got a toe on the ball. Now it's come back, and a high kick from Dowling down the line. Found the turf amid about 10 players. Laird's got it. Flicks a hand pass to Berry, and Nash got him with a big tackle.
Great tackle.
He tried to put the Irishman off with a fen, but Nash got him. Now he drops it in short. Centre half forward. Ward with the ball in hand. He's a left footer looking for options inside 50.
Colin Nash is 198 centimetres.
Yeah, big-bodied mid.
Long kick inside 50. There's the other Irishman out there, and Keane, who knocked it forward. McDonald picked it up, missed his hand pass going backwards. It's outside 50 for the Hawks.
Kick intended for Jaff. He was wrapped up in the hinge tackle and caught holding the ball. So Adelaide now through the outer side. Jones rushed it unnecessarily, had more time than he realised. Kick was wayward. Scrimshaw's there for the Hawks. And now we'll look to switch. Frost at centre half back. They're up by 1. Hawthorn battling for a spot in the 8. They'll need the Swans to fight back against the Bulldogs over at the SCG, though, if they're to make it this round. But closing in on their ultimate goal. D'Ambrosio, when inside, wasn't 15 to aim on. Called to play on. Rushes the kick down the line, off hands. Beautiful sidestep from Day. Dances out of dodge. And from 45, Day delights. What a finish. His first of the afternoon finally breaks the end-to-end scoring run and puts Hawthorn up by 7. 8-1-49 to the Crows, 6-6-42 as we close in on time on Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Liz Walsh downstairs.
There was a bit of talk a bit earlier about the strapping around Josh Rochelli's knee. He's come to the bench just before. It was looking a bit ratty, so the trainers just cut it all off, and it looked like absolute bandage under there. Anyway, it's come off and it's not going back on, so that's interesting.
Just goes to show players strapped themselves for decoration, not for any other reason. But back to the game, that was all class by Will Day then. But Hawthorn now really controlling the game and have it on their terms. They're plus 21 in uncontested ball and plus 13 in marks for the quarter, which really allows them to control the speed of the game and possess the ball the way they need to moving forward.
Yeah, time in possession, they're getting on top to this quarter, 47% to 33.
You hear the unrest as Taylor over the ball for Adelaide, tries to take it forward from the ruck contest. Hawks crowd in, force a ball up, so towards the front end of the square for Adelaide, going to the River Torrens end of the ground. Tap down to Laird from O'Brien was good. Now Saligo gets possession inside 50 with the kick, and Scrimshaw another contested intercept mark away from Himmelberg. Called to play on, and now what will happen here? I think this is going to be a ball up because it was touched and the umpire ruled that it was a mark, and the mark had been set and we were about to play on, and so the umpires have now agreed, yes, we should ball this up. There's an advantage for Adelaide.
Must have an earpiece, is it, too? Or do the umpires confer on that occasion?
They did confer. There were 2 of them who conferred then, and the controlling umpire hadn't realised it had been touched off the boot.
In the meantime, O'Brien down to Murphy, then Saligo up towards the top of the goal square. It was low and an awkward bounce for Himmelberg. Scrimshaw got his body in front. Ricochets out to D'Ambrosio, tackled but heaved it out of there. Banging the kick, and it spills out the back to Watson. Empty 50. He can put it in the path of Bruce. Just had to place it. Awkward bounce. He gathers it as a run down. Excellent desperation from Nankervis, and he may have popped his shoulder doing so. He's in agony as he gets up. Left arm unable to be moved. He's in all sorts, Luke Nankervis. He wants to take his kick. He'll quickly dink it, and the trainer will race out. It was an excellent effort, but at what cost? Scholl exits to right half back. Pat crumples.
He's holding his wrist, Aaron, maybe too.
Couple of tackles.
Nick Watson didn't help him with a kick either too, was it?
Great point. I was about to say the same thing. Just had to put it to Bruce's advantage.
Yeah.
Liz will keep an eye on Nankervis, who's making his way to the bench. The crowd applauding him for that rundown tackle, but doesn't look happy. Meanwhile, we're going to get a ball up close to left half forward for the Hawks, and they're up by 7.
Ball down to Taylor for Adelaide from sitting on his back. He got the hand pass out to Saligo, picked it up immediately, was trying to get away from 2 Hawks who bring him down. Another ball up. I think they will look at that shoulder of Nankervis. I have a suspicion I saw him grimace when he went down about 5 minutes ago on centre wing. As ruck contest now, and Saligo again pulled down, this time by Watson. There's a few afters there. Saligo not appreciating the attention, but we'll get another ball up. It's just outside attacking 50 for the Hawks. O'Brien with a tap down, found Laird. Quick kick towards the centre of the ground. Cook couldn't pull it in. Scrimshaw at the back, flicks a hand pass up. Frost takes it, goes out to the eastern side. Moore, first touch was pretty good. Now he's got it under control. Gave it off to McDonald. High he goes, high towards half forward. Oh, Frost just crashed into the back. The umpire let it go. Impey's out the back. One bounce over the top. The hand pass wide for Bruce. Looks centrally with his kick. It should be no. I thought O'Brien had it. Watson almost knocked himself out with the contest.
They're throwing themselves in recklessly, aren't they, Crossy? The Hawks hungry for the footy. And they've done enough to force it over the boundary line in the left forward pocket as Adelaide look to exit. Quickly down to Liz downstairs.
Yeah, I've got eyes firmly on Luke Nankervis. He's talking to the physios. The doctors just had a look at him. They've given him some rotations around on his shoulder. I'm just keeping a close eye. I'm not sure what's actually happening at the moment.
Toss back in. O'Brien taps it down. Only found Newcomb. Tried to race away from Michael Annie. Got enough space to hand it to Ward. High ball towards the behind line, a bit too long as well. So through for a minor score on the right-hand side. He set sail from about 35. Josh Ward, and just missed his target. Up by 8, the Hawks, 8-250 to the Crows, 6-6-42. Time on in the second. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans, Neil Cross, Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson, All-Australian midfielder Scott Thompson with you.
King plays on from full-back and just short to Laird.
Sorry, Crossy, they've dominated this quarter, the Hawks. They've inside 50s, 13-7.
Kick down the line, comes off hands. Finally to Newcomb. Oh, he brushed one away, brushed 2 away. Now Taylor comes at him again. Affects the kick. Ball ace couldn't take it. Chol just bowled. Chol, I should say, just bowls over somebody. Now it's come back for the Hawks to Ward. Gave it to Amon. Inside 50, quick kick. And marked, intercepted by Hinge. And then his kick was astray. Oh, he set it up. Paulos has to do a lot of work. Jath's got it for Hawthorn. Hand passes in the air. Adelaide just desperate. Moore comes through the pack. Hand passes it back. McDonald gave it back to Amon. From 55, he loads up. Chol's in the square by himself. Takes the mark. King just lost his man. Chol takes it at the top of the goal square. Lay down Mazair, goal coming up for Hawthorn.
They're certainly controlling the game. The pressure in the forward half from Hawthorn for the whole of this second quarter has been at an elite level. And the Crows defenders not only are feeling pressure now, but the perceived pressure that comes with it when they're trying to exit their D50.
32 more disposals this quarter alone for the Hawks.
From the top of the square, Maviol Chol, no problems for that. And Hawthorn creep away. They move to 9-2-56. 14-point lead over Adelaide, 6-6-42. 25 minutes down. Second term at the Adelaide Oval on ABC Sport.
And the spread of goal kickers too for the Hawks. There's 8 of them. Luke Bruce has 2 goals, and they were both in the first quarter. Just Adelaide trying to get numbers around the footy, really getting a fist to it deep in the forward line for the Hawks, and just can't get it out. And the numbers around there. And to your point, like Mark Keane just finds himself well out of position. Really poor defence.
Hawks by 14. Busy couple of minutes for Liz downstairs.
Luke Nankervis is sort of still moving that left shoulder. He looks okay. He's not in as much pain as he certainly was when he came from the ground. So, we might actually be able to say that he might even make it back out there again today.
Got a new target for you as well, Liz. I reckon that Nick Watson came off after that collision with Riley O'Brien. The doctor just wanted possibly a concussion test and finally got to him, so he's come off the ground. Out of the middle, O'Brien found Saligo. Kick high up to right half forward, and Hardwick strong up against Lockie Murphy to take the intercept for the Hawks. So they're up by 14. Watson's off now. Curvis is off. No subs yet. Sicily receives the footy and heads down the broadcast wing. Off hands, bursting by Ginnivan. No look, handball to Moore. He races inside, slicing by, and totally off balance has skewed the kick. In front of the scoreboard, it drops to Hinge. Stripped away from Jaff. Just ripped it out of his hands running by. Day tries to break through the tackle. Got a handball out of bounds. Only found Keys, though. And a spearing exit. Hits up his skipper for the day in Fogarty. Hawks by 14. And Fogarty goes high up the outer wing. Hardwick again. Easily has the mismatch on Murphy. Got away from him and cuts it off just behind the logo.
Drops it short to Scrimshaw. Follows up, receives a hand pass. Inside the forward 50. Oh, Weddle with a big fly. Almost pulled it down. Chol did. Hand pass off to Day. Couldn't handle it. 3 Crows around him. Picked it up straight away. Hammered by the tackle of Ball Ace. And the ball up. 35 out. Just to the right for the Hawks.
That's what the Hawks do. You just called it then. There's 3 players around him. Adelaide are getting sucked into the contest here. Hawthorn get it out the outside. They got time.
Here's Chol. He gets out of the ruck contest. High towards goal. Floating. Hit the post in the end, I think. There's a minor score in any case. So the Hawks extend the lead to 15 points as we close in on half-time. Liz Walsh on the boundary.
Yeah, Nick Watson is down here on the bench. He's got a towel over his head at the moment. He had a really quick chat to the doctor. Nothing too in-depth. Perhaps they're waiting for half-time for a better check of him.
The exit for Adelaide to left half back. O'Brien clunked it up against Meek and he powdered it out of his hands as he tried to step back on the mark. So it'll be 50. The Crows' big man marched up to the logo on centre wing and wants to move it quickly. He'll square his kick. Bonds alone in his 3rd game. Turns close to the broadcast wing. On the 45 wide, hits up Dowling. Too far out to score. The youngster will set it up in the pocket. Rochelli's got some time to leap. He's blocked out of the rise. Stillthorpe brought it down. Keys hands it to Himmelberg, tight in the pocket. Screws it centrally. Murphy again. Too short for Jaff, who did enough to bring it down for the Hawks. And Ward can race out of traffic and retreat back to Hardwick. Good composure. He'll chip it to Impey in the right back pocket. Hawthorn by 15. Sunday footy on ABC Sport over at the SCG. 3/4 time. And the Dogs lead the Swans by 44 points. Sydney's going to lose 3 of its last 4. Incredible for the premiership favourites.
Unrest for the Swans fans, unrest here for the Adelaide fans. Not happy with the way the Hawks have been able to chip this ball out of defence. Now down the line goes Impey with his kick, looking for the pass for Meek. Puts it out of bounds on the full. O'Brien right on centre wing, eastern side. Sun going down in the west. Crowd over there shielding their eyes from the performance of Adelaide as much as the sun. Ball down the line from O'Brien, comes to ground. Ball up, forced, outside 50, near the boundary line on the eastern side.
Tossed into the air. O'Brien charging in, taps it straight to Saligo. Kick smothered by the diving Warple, and that'll take us to half-time. The Hawks really dominated that second term. 4-1. Had a couple of lead changes amongst it. Adelaide were up by 6 at quarter time. In the end, they're down by 15 at the half. Hawthorn 9-3-57. The Crows 6-6-42. Concerns for Luke Nankervis clutching his left shoulder after a diving chase down tackle. And Nick Watson, a big collision with Riley O'Brien, will be checked through the major break, you'd think, for concussion. The subs this afternoon, Dan Curtin, the late in for Brodie Smith, and Finn McGuinness for the Hawks in consecutive weeks. So Hawthorn by 15 points at half-time. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross with you alongside Rod Jamieson and Scott Thompson. And on the text line 0437 774 774. Stan from Victoria says, maybe Jack Ginnivan is all spent after putting his efforts into last week's antics. The Crows have to win this one. And where will the Swans be after the loss today? So they'll still be 2 games clear. Technically a game and a draw ahead of Brisbane. But they're not quite falling enough to really get the chasing pack to catch them. But it's not great when you've lost 3 of your last 4 heading into a final series, which is about a month away. And meanwhile, the Jack Ginnivan won 2 touches in that second term, 1 in the first, so 3 for the half. Hasn't been a great afternoon for Jack, considering he had 31 last week and 2 goals. So a bit of Jekyll and Hyde form there from the young Hawk. But they're up by 15, so I'm sure Sam Mitchell isn't too phased right now, Jamo.
Yeah, no, I think he'd be enormously happy with that. The first quarter we touched on, they got out, they started well. Adelaide won that quarter and won it pretty convincingly in the end, but just in that second quarter, that was all Hawthorn, where they wanted to play it, their use of the football, their run and their carry. Adelaide, when they did go inside 50, were poor, 16-8 in favour of Hawthorn in that second quarter too. But just their numbers around the football, I feel that, and Tomo, this is where your wheelhouse was too, just I think Hawthorn are at the footy, but they're certainly allowing to say outside the football. Adelaide are going 1, 2 or 3 in at it. So if Hawthorn do clear or it does get knocked free, and they hold their structure and shape really well, and they have got some speed when they do, and others that we spoke of that needed to step up in that second quarter clearly did to win the footy and get Hawthorn back into it, and to go in at half-time 15 points up.
Yeah, you're spot on, and they did. They controlled the whole of the second quarter. Contested possessions quite even, but the one that spilt, Jamo, that uncontested ball, now some of that's outside contest, some of it's just general work rate to cover the ground. Hawthorn were plus 39 for the quarter, which then set up 27 marks to 11 for the quarter. So they were able to dictate the speed of the game, control the ball the way they needed to, and penetrate the forward line with ease at times. And then that reflected on shots on goal. And then at the other end, when the Crows went inside 50, what dropped away, because they have got the tall forwards up there, their forward pressure just dropped away slightly, which was a really high level, which we covered in the first quarter. That dropped away, which certainly allowed Hawthorn to exit their D50 with ease to set up their offensive transition from there.
Thoughts of Scott Thompson and Rod Jamieson there here at the Adelaide Oval. A rather punchy half-time break here because we've got a lot to get through. It's a big day, or it's a big kind of couple of weeks of action. As you know, the Olympics are on at Paris, and we've got coverage for you across regional Australia and in the capital cities of Adelaide, Canberra, the Northern Territory,
Slow it down now.
Gold Coast and Hobart.
That's the way. There we go.
There's a lot of places, so plenty of opportunities for you to find our coverage of the Paris Olympics, and a pretty hot start to it as well, Jamo, yesterday. So we're leading the medal tally. We've got 3 gold medals already.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to cope. I've had 2 late nights already, and we're only 2 days in.
There's plenty still to come, obviously, tonight. So let's have a check-in and see what's to come in Paris. Plenty of big stories from overnight and everything that's coming up for you in a moment's time. So we'll check in with Quentin Hull in a moment, but let's quickly get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News with Satyam Weinstein. Claire O'Neill and Andrew Giles have been dumped from their respective federal portfolios of Home Affairs and Immigration, but will remain in Cabinet as part of the Albanese government's first ministerial reshuffle. Tony Burke will be elevated to the role of Home Affairs and Immigration Minister, taking over from Ms O'Neill and Mr Giles. The reshuffle comes after the Minister for Indigenous Australians, Linda Burney, and the Minister for Skills and Training, Brendan O'Connor, announced they'll be retiring at the next election. Israel says it's conducted airstrikes on Hezbollah sites deep inside Lebanon following the rocket attack on the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, killing 12 people that it blames on the militant group. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is cutting short a visit to the United States to deal with the aftermath of the rocket attack, which the Israeli military says now has proof Hezbollah carried out. Hezbollah denies any involvement, but Israeli army spokesperson Daniel Hagari says it was responsible.
Our forensic team has made it clear this rocket was manufactured in Iran. It is delivered to Hezbollah.
A Russian official says 3 storage tanks at an oil depot have been set alight following a Ukrainian drone attack. The acting governor of the Kursk region in southern Russia says no one was injured in the attack. More than 80 firefighters are trying to put out the fires. The Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has defended not allowing several former Latin American leaders into the country to observe today's presidential elections. Here's the BBC's Leonardo Rocha.
Mr. Maduro described their attempt to fly into Caracas as ridiculous and said they were far-right politicians who knew they were unacceptable in Venezuela. Among those on board were the ex-presidents of Mexico and Panama, Vicente Fox and Mireya Moscoso. They said they were supporting the opposition candidate Edmundo González, who's leading the opinion polls. A group of Spanish members of parliament critical of Venezuela's socialist government have also been sent back to Madrid. President Maduro, who is seeking a 3rd term, is sending a strong message to his critics, making it clear that he won't be intimidated by claims of irregularities in Venezuela's electoral process.
You're up to date with the latest from ABC News.
G'day, Patrick Stack here from ABC Sport Daily. If you love sport...
we got our first look at potentially what Brian Goorjian might at least be thinking or might be looking at.
And great conversation.
Well, they're the most famous family in paddling, the first family of paddling, if you will.
Then you'll love ABC Sport Daily.
Lamine Yamal, he's just turned, I think, 17 years and 1 day. So what a birthday present.
ABC Sport Daily. Get it on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Amon's kick inside 50 wasn't great, but was effective. McDonald gave it off. Newcomb from right on 50, long bomb goal. Hawks hit back and retake the lead.
Kicks in, a little bit hot for Rochelle. Was he taken high? Sicily stuck a fist in. He milked it for all it was worth. And Rochelle's been paid the contact free kick straight in front, 25 out. Comes in and converts. And it puts Adelaide back in front. Scrimshaw hooks it to the top of the goal square. 2-on-2 there off hands. Chol looking to barge through. Did enough. Got it to Deer. Threw it on the boot. 5 out. Straight through. And the Hawks hit the front. Rushes the kick down the line off hands. Beautiful sidestep from Day. Dances out a dodge. And from 45, Day delights.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
A dominant second quarter from the Hawks has them up by 15 against the Crows here at the Adelaide Oval, but the win is unlikely to squeeze them into the top 8 because the Western Bulldogs are about to pull off a massive upset. They currently lead the Swans by 57 points at the SCG, and the live ladder has them sitting 8th. The Hawks behind them with 20% difference, the same amount of wins, but the percentage, the separator between 8th and 9th. The Hawks won't mind overall because they can keep this up. They'll have won 10 of their last 12. So a ripping run of form for Hawthorn, especially after the slow start here at the Adelaide Oval. The Crows led by 6, and now it's the Hawks by 15. 9-3-57 to the Crows 6-6-42. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross calling the action. Premiership Crow, Rod Jamieson, and All-Australian midfielder Scott Thompson, your experts. There's plenty happening across codes today. So in the NRL, the Panthers defeated the Dragons 46-10, and currently the Dolphins and the Titans are locked at 14 apiece. If you missed the Super Netball yesterday, the Vixens defeated the Fever by a goal. So it will be Melbourne and Adelaide in the Super Netball Grand Final next Saturday. And gee, it's such a good time to be a sports fan because we've got the coverage of the Olympics for you as well on regional Australia and in capital cities Adelaide, Canberra, the Northern Territory, Gold Coast and Hobart. And what a hot start it was. Day 1 of the Paris Olympics. Australia leads the medal tally. Incredible start. So Grace Brown in the women's time trial locked away gold. Ariane Titmus in the women's 400-metre freestyle. And the Australian women's 4x100-metre freestyle relay team all securing gold medals. So a brilliant start in Paris. Still plenty to play out. And I'm really looking forward to the action. Day 2 tonight will take you there straight after the siren if you're listening in regional Victoria and WA or in South Australia, Tasmania and Northern Territory. But what's to come and what are the big stories? Quentin Hull can join us to run through it all. Good afternoon, Q.
G'day, Aaron. The good news as Sunday dawns in the Olympic City is that the sun is out. The weather's been pretty dodgy over the last couple of days, but it looks like we're in for a gorgeous day in the French capital, and there's plenty of action, as you mentioned. The team sports I'll get to in a moment, but in the early hours of the day's action, we've got the continuation of the 3-day event in the equestrian. Now, Christopher Burton is the best placed of the Australians in the individual, in 3rd place after yesterday's dressage, but the Australian team is in 8th behind Great Britain. This goes from dressage yesterday through the time-honoured and very exciting cross-country today before we get to the jumping tomorrow. So Christopher Burton, our best performed individual, in 3rd place. Remember, there are individual and team medals up for stake across the 3 days. The Aussies in 8th position with Great Britain leading the way with some excellent scores on that first day of competition. As far as our teams are concerned, the Aussie Sharks, the men's water polo team, is the first of them in action at about 6:30 Eastern time. They've got a really tough first up assignment in Group B. They take on Spain. Now, Spain finished just off the podium in Tokyo in 4th position, so a pretty tough start for our Aussie Sharks there. So that is due to get underway in about an hour from now. As the evening progresses, we'll see our women's hockey team, the Hockey Roos, who have really mixed their form in the lead-in to this games, and some controversy around the selection of the squad as well. Their first up test is a Pool B clash against South Africa. The pool, as ever, will take focus. Magnificent performance from Ariane Titmus last night, backing up to win yet another 400 metres freestyle gold medal. Dare I suggest, the nature of that performance, she was so dominant that it almost looked like she was saving something for what many will see as the biggest challenge of this games for Arnie. Can she beat her training mate? Can she beat Molly O'Callaghan in the 200 metres freestyle? Well, we'll see Arnie back in the pool with Molly in the heats of the women's 200 metres free tonight. Of course, Molly a part of the team that won the 4x100 metres freestyle relay last night. Max Giuliani and Neil Thomas will hit the water in the men's 200 free heats. We've also got William Petrick in the 400 metres individual medley. In the medley, the same event, Brendan Smith will swim as well. So Petrick in Heat 1, Smith in Heat 2. Women's 100 breaststroke, Jenna Strauch is our representative there. The men's 100 metres backstroke, Isaac Cooper and Bradley Woodward. So heaps of Aussies involved in the pool. But as mentioned, we'll have to get to the back end of the morning session where we'll see Arnie Titmus and Molly O'Callaghan back in the water a little bit after 8 o'clock Eastern time for the heats of the women's 200 metres freestyle. The rowing regatta continues in the early hours of the day's action. It's the women's pair of McIntyre and Morrison, the men's pair of Holt and Keenan. They have their first heats. The men's and women's 4 will also compete in their opening heats a little bit later today. And if you hadn't caught the news, disappointing news for Australia in the singles of the men's tennis, because the injury that saw Alex de Minaur pull out of Wimbledon will also see him pull out of the singles at Roland Garros for the tennis. He was drawn to play his first round match against the German Jan-Lennard Struff today, but he has been pulled out of that with injury. So, unfortunately, no Demon in the singles. Alexei Poprin's first round match, though, is due to take place against Nicholas Jarry and the Aussie men's doubles combination of Ebden and Peers, and they are a medal chance. They also have their first contest today. The sailing gets underway. Plenty of Australians represented there. Gray Morris in the windsurfing is seen as a really good chance there. And after the weather played havoc yesterday with the skateboarding, we're hoping that the sun means we'll get the likes of Chloe Cavell, Liv Lovelace and Hayley Powell in the Women's Street prelims today, which is around 8 o'clock Australian Eastern Time. So heaps happening here in across the day in Paris, Aaron. And the good news is the sun is out for this Sunday, and hopefully, well, it's the sun continues to shine on the Aussies. 3 golds, 2 silvers, no bronze, ahead of the People's Republic of China with 2 golds and 1 bronze. So we head the medal tally after 1 full day of competition.
We'll stop the games now, Q. It's great to see us up top, but looking forward to it, and best of luck over the next couple of weeks. It's going to be a pretty long games, and we're excited to have coverage of it. So looking forward to that. The conclusion of Adelaide and Hawthorn will take our listeners in regional Victoria and WA, alongside our local radio in South Australia, Tasmania and the Northern Territory, straight to Day 2 action. And a reminder that if you do want to hear our coverage of the games at any point, you can through regional Australia and local radio in Adelaide, Canberra, Northern Territory, Gold Coast and in Hobart. All eyes on the footy here at the Adelaide Oval. Close contest. Hawthorn up by 15 points to conclude round 15 over the Crows. They were hoping that this would be the game that would sneak them into the 8, considering they started the campaign 0-5, so they'd be the second team in this century, the second team since the top 8 system to do so. But it's not going to happen because the Western Bulldogs have dominated Sydney at the SCG. We're still halfway through the final term, but they're up by 57 points. So the Dogs will be in the top 8 by the conclusion of this round, and the Hawks, if they do win today, will be behind them on percentage. So that top 8 starting to take a bit of shape, but gee, the Swans are stumbling late. They're still up by a couple of games in terms of where they sit in first, but they've lost 3 of their last 4, Jamo. It's a little bit worrying. John Longmire has some thinking to do, but if you were going to fall over at any point, you'd want it with a month to go, right, to figure out what's going wrong.
Yeah, I guess so. And again, the competition is that hard. It's difficult, and they've had an incredible season. I still think they're probably the best team at the moment and probably the team to beat as we go to finals, which is still a number of weeks away. But John Longmire's record's been an incredible record up there, isn't it?
That's the thoughts of Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson. We've got All-Australian midfielder Scott Thompson alongside him as well. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross calling the action. Text in on 0437 774 774. Murph says, listening on Stuart Highway, loving the call, heading home to Alice Springs from Adelaide. Enjoy the drive, Murph. Stay safe. And he says, go Crows as well. Rule Eye says, speaking of the games and footy, fun fact, there's Australian rules football included in all the sports on the 50-cent commemorative coin for the 1982 Brisbane Commonwealth Games. That sounds like something up your alley, Crossy.
It was an exhibition event played between Carlton and, I'm trying to remember who the grand finalists were, Carlton and Richmond, I think it was, back in 82. Yeah, that's right, Carlton Richmond, and it was played at the Gabba, as it was then, with the dog track.
Walking encyclopedia. Neil Cross.
Sorry, what was it played at the Gabba?
It was an exhibition event.
Yeah, right.
So you were allowed, I think you still are, they have effectively sports that are outside, not necessarily part of the games, but it was an exhibition event, and it was organised, obviously, by the organisers of the games in conjunction with the then VFL, that they would have an exhibition of Australian rules football. So that's one of the, I can't remember what the second exhibition event was. There were 2.
We'll hit the books.
Intrigued what's going to happen. Like, was it in 32 with the Com Games? There's already, they put a cease or a hold, haven't they, on the development of the Gabba at the moment?
Correct.
Too.
Correct. The initial cost was said to be too much, so the Labor government up there has at this stage, it's all on hold. They've said they've backed away from redeveloping the Gabba at all, and even suggested that the Gabba will be obsolete over in the next 10 years or so. So that'll be kind of interesting, because they're also, as you may or may not know, building a new train station just across from the Gabba in order to get people into the Gabba. So there has to be some work done on the ground, but they're not prepared. The cost was estimated, I think, around $2 billion to effectively take away all the stands and that and rebuild them in time for the Olympics. The contributing problem, of course, for football and for cricket is that they'd have to move away from the Gabba for a period of about 3 years. Those are the problems.
They're running out of time, Crossy.
That's right, they are, and they have to make up their mind. Well, if not that, then where for the opening ceremony and, of course, for all the athletics events.
Now, speaking of running out of time, we're heading towards the start of the second half. Hawthorn by 15. I forgot to mention earlier as well, running through the scores. So Collingwood defeated Richmond earlier today by 26 points. Nick Dacos had 42 touches, and Tim Taranto was subbed out with back concern. And also Mitch Cleary is reporting that Essendon defender Jordan Ridley has a hip flexor strain, so he will miss the game against Fremantle, and a timeline to be confirmed in the coming days. There's also some concern about Luke Nankervis and Nick Watson downstairs. Liz, what's the latest?
Look, we've got good news from both clubs. The Hawthorn say that Watson had a blood nose, not too much to worry about there. As for Luke Nankervis, he will be starting on the bench in this third quarter, but the Crows say he is good to go back on.
Adelaide and Hawthorn, round 20 action, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. The Hawks up by 15, and Neil Cross set to get us underway in this second half.
A blood nose.
Good to go. Ball in the middle. Laird got it off O'Brien's tap off to Saligo. Adelaide will go forward. Shallow entry just to the top of the 50s. Sicily got the ball away, and the Hawks will chain it up with Day. Head passed from Nash, and then Day goes long to half forward. Getting back there was Borlase to force the contest. Deere handed it off to Chol off the right foot as he's being tackled. Sent it inside 50, and Hinge takes a defensive mark for Adelaide in the contest. Adelaide, just he slipped the hand pass out, and Michael Annie left it behind and spent it before he got it.
Bruce rips it out. Ginnivan now trying to get it away. The Hawks wrestling forward. Watson put his head over it. Jones in the headlock. Came out to Ginnivan again. Got a bit of space. Couple of steps and skies it to cross the face. Sits up on the behind line and off hands. Rolls through for the minus score for the Hawks. Could have been a costly error there for Adelaide, but they'll just take the minus score. Down by 16 as Hawthorn move to 9-4 58. The Crows 6-6-42. Opening stages of this third term.
Mitch in through the mark, but Max Michelini, that is uncharacteristic, isn't he? He's normally so clean and so sure with his hands.
Speaking of which, here's Michelini getting the short kick from Hinge this time. Plays on, brings it down this broadcast side. Walker gets to the front. Saligo took a couple of tacklers on, then slipped the hand pass to Berry. Down to half forward with his long kick. Scrimshaw comes across. I thought Thilthorpe had a lot of it. The umpire calls play on. Thilthorpe has stayed down. He might have a problem. Very slow to get up. Hawks come away with the kick. It's aim on. They've gone out the other side, the eastern side. It's with Impey.
Chips it to the presenting Shoal behind centre wing. He's in front of the Odie stand. And the journeyman for the Hawks heads through centre wing to Impey. Running by, he releases Ward. Close to the boundary line. Can keep it in the field of play and curl it into the left forward pocket. Deer the target off hands. Ginnivan pounces. Dancing away from Keane. Lobs it over the top with a handball to Moore. Tried to get it back to Ginnivan, but totally missed his target. And it'll be a boundary throw in 20 out. Liz downstairs.
Yeah, Riley Thilthorpe struggling to get up before. He had 2 trainers and a doctor run out to him. Lots of conversations, and he made the absolute clear decision to stay back out there.
Yeah, the number 1 trainer, Vinny, we know well, Tomo, just didn't let Riley go, and he's always got a fair bit to say, so...
Off the contest, Ginnivan got a hand in there. Now it's with Moore. Chance to slot the goal. He sent it across the body and across the goal face, and in the end, Keane defended well, got it through for the minus score. So the Hawks stretched their margin to 17 points, almost 3 minutes down in the third quarter. And quickly out of defence, or at least trying to work out a defensive 50. Adelaide with Shoal going short to Chase Jones.
Adelaide need to arrest this really quickly. Hawks have started as they finished in that second quarter. 21 disposals to 9 already, only 3 minutes into the third.
Jones to Key, and now Keane to Michelini, right back pocket. Ginnivan slips over, so it frees them up to get out of the defensive 50. Keane long through the outer side, and Impey's in the hole. Read the drop best. Had some space on Lockie Murphy, who had his back to it. And the former power winger pops it up to left half forward. Deer underneath it. Keane came late with the fist. Hits the deck. Moore over the top of it, and Bond behind him will get a ball up in front of the Williams stand. Hawks by 17.
And already +8 in uncontested ball. So again, getting the game on their terms, Hawthorn.
Showdown medalist Scott Thompson there. O'Brien wins it down. Berry looking to barge through. Met a brick wall. He's wrapped up by a couple.
Just had a quick look at Sydney's run home. They play Port Adelaide here, Collingwood at home, then Essendon away. It's a pretty tough game.
Tough last month for a lot of the contenders, particularly Freo and Essendon as well. Toss back in. Newcomb's handball misdirected. Only hits Saligo, hands it to Rochelle. Up to right half forward go the Crows. Little shallow for Thilthorpe. Bounce was kind for Scrimshaw. Gathers in a little 1-2 with Frost. Steadies, and on the 45 spots Nash in the square. Here they come.
Nash gives it on to Ward. And then it went to Newcomb, and then Newcomb's forward hand pass found Impey in stride inside 50 and in goal kicking distance. Impey with the finish as the hungry Hawks kick the first major of the second half. Stretches that lead out to 23 points. Hawthorn 10-5-65. Adelaide 6-6-42. 4 minutes down in the second half, and the Hawks have put their foot down.
Jamo, I think it was Scrimshaw off half back or just inside their D50. The Crows forward sat off him, and he's that smart and that clever with ball in hand with that extra second of space to assess his options. But that kick inside, I think it was to Nash, opened up the whole face of goal and just really spring shot Hawthorn's offensive ball movement there. Quality finish from Impey in the end to just run and carry through 50 and knock over the goals. But well done Scrimshaw with the ball movement. Crows forward pressure needs to be better.
How about the celebration as well? The Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Sweet. Charmin Impey. High bounce in the middle. Meek wins it down to Warple. Hawks are currently up by 23. Off a step to half forward, looking for more. Knocked away by Michelini and charging through. Full out of steam, Saligo. Gathers and hands it to Nankervis. Now Jones is collected as he kicks to Shoal. He'll take the advantage, and at left half back, chips it over the top. Nankervis gets it again, and back to Shoal. Racking up the touches in this third term.
Great kick.
Oh. Chiseled it through centre wing, just a little short in the end for Himmelberg sliding in. Becomes the tackler on Warple and will get a ball up. On the text line, Cyrus is driving from Melbourne to Adelaide and says, enjoying the call, keeping me sane. As O'Brien wins it down, only found Warple dancing out of traffic. Hands it back to Hardwick and he bangs it through centre wing. Only finds Keane sitting back.
Want to be good.
Kick was treacherous. Looking for Dowling a little long and he had 2 to beat. McDonald tries to use the body, but Dowling's too good. Planted, gathered and got it to Cook, and now Nankervis up the outer side.
His kick looking for Fogarty. Brought the ball to ground. Scrimshaw in support at the back for Hawthorn to D'Ambrosio with the hand pass. He's on the logo on centre wing. Draws a man off to Weddle. Running to half forward. Or a little confused, but got it inside to Ward. Forward hand pass. And inside 50. They've got Ginnivan. And Ginnivan marks unopposed. Around on the right foot. Another goal for the Hawks. 11-5-71. The Hawks, Adelaide 6-6-42. They put a gap in it now. Have Hawthorn after 7 minutes of this third term. Will go down to the boundary. Liz Walsh.
I'm keeping a really close eye on Luke Nankervis. He's headed back out onto the ground after injuring his left shoulder just before half-time. He's out there. He's had about 3 or 4 touches in the last few minutes, but he's certainly not looking 100%. A bit of trouble sort of lifting his left arm, so I'm just keeping a really close eye on it.
It's just the run and the carry from the defence. Adelaide are going forward. They're not hitting a target. Sicily not so much at the minute, but Weddle is just running and going. Scrimshaw is running and going. We saw Impey run through and at the end of it all get another handball, but they are just clean and holding on the football to late, and then that sort of 45 forward handball, and it's just opening Adelaide up.
O'Brien down to Berry, quickly caught in the tackle, looks to exit to the attacking edge, bounced in front of Keys, knocked away by the Hawks. Hardwick got through the driving tackle of Scholl, but lost the footy in the process. Rochelle can gather for Adelaide, hands it back to Berry. He's pulled over the boundary line, attempting to kick, and it's out on the full. Hawthorn by 29. They've got the footy at right half back. Shout out to Clint in Abu Dhabi, who's listening to the game. Brother of ex-Eagle and Pies big man Lee Walker. Here come the Hawks. Picking off a corridor option up to half forward. Bruce cleanly gathers now to Scholl. Sandwiched and brought down. Play continues. He dropped it. Gathered by Nash. Over the top to Watson. And he smashes it into the Riverbank stands. They'll be rioting, the Crows fans. Hawthorn up by a game high 35. The whistle put away at a very pivotal moment. 12-5-77 to the Crows, 6-6-42. 9 minutes into the third. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts, Rod Jamison, Scott Thompson.
Now, that's 3 goals in a row, Jamo, that have been spring shot off half-back. It was Amon from an out-on-the-full ball that came from pressure on the ball carrier initially. But again, that inside 45 kick, we've seen numerous times this quarter, opens up full face of goal. And, yeah, you could argue there was an element of luck that may have been holding the ball. And then reward for effort by Watson. His forward energy and pressure has been elite, and it's nice to see him get reward for effort.
2 goals today, one in the first, now one in the third quarter. They are on top of the ground and covering it exceptionally well.
Adelaide's last score was a goal to Rochelle at the 11-minute mark of the second term. They haven't scored since then, and the Hawks have taken over. They're out of the middle again through Newcomb. Down towards half-forward. Bruce spilled the ball. Nankervis caught in a tackle, got a left foot to the ball. Scholl pulled it down. He's tackled by Ward. Still inside attacking 50 for the Hawks. Tell you what, if nothing else, that goal where there was a claim that, I reckon a good claim that Scholl had not disposed of the ball correctly, has really got the crowd into it. They're not happy as Adelaide rumbles the ball outside defensive 50, but Hawks hold them up. Another ball up.
Up by 35. Meek wins it down for the Hawks. Found Laird, though. Rolls a 5-metre tumbler towards the boundary line broadcast side. Picked up by Hardwick. Uses Weddle. Then Warple. Rochelle stalking. Got a handball under pressure. Towards the logo. Newcomb brought to ground by Laird. Holding the ball. There's your incorrect disposal.
Yeah.
The 2-time best and fairest winner, Rory Laird. Sends it up to left half forward. He's looking for Fogarty. Caught behind Weddle. Got hands to it. Knocked it in the path of Keys. Bangs it into the 50. Too hot for Walker. At the back it bounces for D'Ambrosio. And he spots McDonald close to the scoreboard pocket. Hawthorn by 35 points here in this third term over at the SCG. Full time, and the Western Bulldogs have defeated Sydney by 39.
D'Ambrosio went long with the kick, and Adelaide getting across, not able to stop Moore from taking it. Wide out near the boundary line on the eastern side. Plays on, then slips a hand pass over the top to Amon. So Amon with a bounce and a stall and a wait, and then a long kick, and he's turned it over. Scholl coming across. Takes a chest mark unopposed, drops it in short to Nankervis, called to play on. Scholl behind him, flanking him. He's okay on his left foot, but he decides to go back to the right. Crows have lost out of that movement about 35 metres. He went back to ball ace, and then outside 50. Goes to Dowling. Dowling goes all the way back to the pocket to Scholl. So again, they're about 40 metres from where they started and losing yards quickly. It's off to Michael Annie. He goes wide with the kick. It's out on the full. Poor stuff from the Crows. Look away now. Let's go down to the boundary. Liz Walsh.
Meanwhile, Dan Curtin's about to be subbed into the game. He's taken off his training top. He's got his Guernsey on. He's sitting on the front bench. I'm just waiting to see who comes off to head to the back bench there.
Hardwick takes the free kick. Booming kick into the 50. One-on-one battling there. Deer wins out rather with Cook. Handed it off to Watson. Retreats back. Jaff close to the boundary line. Thought about walking it over. And in the end, couldn't, because Keane essentially left him. Waited for the free kick. He had to come back in and is caught holding the ball by Michael Annie. So Jaff caught in two minds. Should have gone for home and is pinged as a result.
This is not how Adelaide want to play, and nor the Hawks are, I guess, getting him to play away as Weddle comes over the top.
Hawks by 35. He did get a good sit, just couldn't clock the mark and off hands over the boundary line.
The transition side to side, that is not how Adelaide want to play. They want to do the 45, short kick go, short kick go. Hawthorn doing that really well to defend it, but when they get it, they're a lot cleaner with their hands than what Adelaide are.
Toss back in Meek off hands, battles it down to Warple, hands it to Newcomb. Attacking edge of the square, darting into the 50. McDonald juggles, couldn't reel it in. Gathers anyway, clean crumb, turned, lost all of his opponents and hits the post. Trying to convert from 30. Nobody had any idea where the pill went except for Connor McDonald. Hawks by 36, 12-6-78 to 6-6-42. 13 played, third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
So Keane hesitates and then drops it in short, straight in the corridor to Nankervis, who's fortunate to be able to stand in the tackle, get it away to Keane, and then Rochelle takes a nice one-hander away from Amon, and then steps around him as well. Looks long for Thilthorpe. He's got the ball, he's got a couple of Hawks to deal with, and he's tackled, and the umpire says we'll ball it up.
Jammo, you're spot on with your point before. The Crows have just lost all the dare out of their game. I mean, they got a little bit lucky there, but they've just got to start to take the game on before it slips too far away.
Who's going to take the game on and just maybe give them a spark? Maybe it'll be this man. Oh, Taylor with a hand pass over their head. That was interesting. Rochelle flips a hand pass to Cook in the scoreboard pocket. He gives it out as well. They're trying to finesse one. Finally, they get it towards the goal square, but it's through for the minus score.
Hawthorn's press is very good. Very good.
So Adelaide get it back to 35 points and their first score since the 11-minute mark of the second term.
Bit of heat taken out of this one. The Hawks through Sicily. Drives it up towards the centre square. About 6 there off hands. McDonald becomes the tackler. Spun a full 360 as he wraps up Saligo, and the umpire will say holding the ball. Andrew Stevens didn't see a genuine attempt. McDonald hands it off to Impey, surging by, kicks into the 50. Watson burst out of the blocks, launched into the ball drop and couldn't clunk it. Ricochets to Bond. He's brought down by Jaff. Spun around in the spin cycle. And at centre half forward, we'll get a ball up for the Hawks. They're up by 35.
Josh Rochelle has allowed Jarman Impey on 2 occasions to run forward. He's kicked a goal on one and then put it inside 50 on that second occasion.
Away from the contest, Chase Jones. Walker just got a fist to it. Knocked it on. Picked up by Fogarty. Fogarty gave the hand pass just into the space. He picked up on the run and getting pulled down Saligo. So it's on the logo on centre wing on this broadcast side. Neutral ball now with the umpire to throw it up. Adelaide's got a job in front of them.
They don't even look like scoring, Crossy.
No, they've lost confidence in what they're doing. Day then was pulled down. Umpire said called play on. Saligo hand passed it into space. Weddle picked up the ground ball. Gave it to Jaff. Down to half forward. He goes long with the kick. Almost pulling it down was Deer. Follows up on the ground now. Slips a hand pass out. McDonald got it. Hand pass off to Weddle. Off his left foot. Non-preferred inside 50. Chol the target. Borlase got him away. Knocked it down to the front. Ginnivan on the snap. And he'll be away with the snap. After they kicked 5 goals straight to start the game, the Hawks have been a little inaccurate, but they've kicked 7-7 since then. And they lead very comfortably by 35 points. 36 points, in fact.
And Adelaide have only kicked 1-1. Is that right? In that same period.
Long exit for the Crows to the broadcast wing off hands. Running by. Smart by Taylor. Took a bit of time in the traffic to find Scholl, who gives it off to Laird off a step. Up through centre wing to Fogarty, 2 to beat. Knocked away. Clean by Ward. Gets it to Impey. Turned into traffic. Had to release it off to Weddle and back to Impey. Then Warple. What a chain into the 50. And from behind, Colsha Deer. Keane was all over that one. And Deer from nowhere has stuck both mitts around him and reeled it in.
That was very smart by Warple on the wing, just to not take possession, have the awareness of who was around him, just to gently touch the ball to his players' or teammates' advantage. But with Adelaide, their offensive ball movement, they cannot penetrate forward of centre at the moment. They're slow, they seem rushed, and they've got no real movement forward of the ball to make any clear decision. But that's due to Hawthorn's very good pressure.
In his 11th game, Colsha Deer misses. That would have stretched the margin to a nearly unassailable deficit. In the end, it's Hawthorn by 37 as we close in on three-quarter time. Liz Walsh downstairs.
Daniel Curtin's come into the game. It's just been officially confirmed. The substitute is tactical and Elliot Himmelberg has come out of the game.
50th game player, so congrats to Elliot, but unfortunate. Keen to see Daniel get a game. Run around, left footer, strong big body.
Crows meanwhile chipping at the back. Finally get it outside defensive 50 with Scholl. Down the wing he goes with his kick, looking for Hinge, and kicks it out on the full. He was picking off a kick that was down a very fine line, and he missed it by about 5 metres. So Day with a kick for Hawthorn. Just backs up near a couple of trainers. Ginnivan and Hardwick being dealt with by the trainers who are doing some massage work. Now he kicks it high, inside forward 50. Keane at the back, got the ball immediately tackled. Umpire comes in. Deer looks for the free kick, but not forthcoming. Ball up.
Hawks by 37 and inside 50. Weddle in the ruck up against O'Brien. The latter one out. Tapped it down to Curtin. Shoveled a handball out. Hit Scholl and now Curvis outside of the boot exit. Only found him. He was under immense pressure to get it out of there. Hit and hope. And the Hawks backman sitting and waiting to pounce. It's too far out to score here, and Adelaide's flooded most of the corridor inside 50 for the Hawks.
13-4 inside 50.
Impey sends in that direction anyway. Weddle launched. Didn't realise where the ball was dropping. It was a bit of a wobbler, and Bruce is wrapped up.
And Impey off half-back. He's had 8 disposals for the quarter. 3 marks, but all possessions have been uncontested with 3 forward 50 entries.
Scott Thompson, Rod Jamieson there. 25 out from the Hawks goal. Curtin, good fend off as he bounced off Weddle and handed it to Laird. Strong in the body. Exit up to the broadcast wing, and Thilthorpe goes to ground with Scrimshaw. Frees up Murphy. He hands it to Walker. Been quiet this term, and Jack gets him. The tackle spun over the boundary line, and he let him know as well. Walker then bowls over Sicily. He's got to be careful. The umpire was right there. Lets him get away with it.
He's diving at the Olympics.
Oh.
Sicily took a big one then.
Hawks by 37.
In comes the ball. O'Brien with a tap down. And Day just pulled away from a Crow and then snapped by Curtin, who just enveloped him.
Good strong tackle.
So a free kick for Curtin.
14-12 in favour of Adelaide, the frees are. So I think it's not necessarily the number, it's just what they've missed and where they've had them.
Couple of short passes picked off. Scholl goes deep inside forward 50. Oh, Thilthorpe got the ball in his hands, couldn't take it down. Hardwick came through, tackled immediately by Murphy, forces the ball up in the left forward pocket for Adelaide. A rare foray forward for Adelaide in this quarter.
Tossed up. Weddle won it this time against O'Brien. Trying to get it to Ward. He's using his body to free up Nash. Thrusts a handball out to Impey, scoreboard pocket. Defensive 50 right now for the Hawks. Impey sidesteps and exits, looking for Warple. He's crunched. Ball ricochets to the boundary line. Dowling bowled over by Nash. Head over it. Hand pass comes from Laird. Gets it off to Curtin. Another touch into the 50. He goes, and O'Brien outmarked by Weddle. This makeshift ruckman's looking pretty good for the Hawks right now. Up by 37 as we close in on three-quarter time.
Good his work rate too.
They switch through more and up the broadcast wing. Scholl the target, knocked away by Ball Ace. Scholl there front and square, hands it to Berry for the Crows. Nankervis lowered the eyes to Ball Ace, who's about 10 metres away. It's cut off by Ward. They get another chance. Michael Annie to Nankervis. His handball misses this time. His disposal's been everywhere. Picked up by Day. Back to Hardwick. The Hawks through Warple.
Scholl leads up, takes it in front of the ice. Ahead of Nankervis, plays on straight away. Off the outside of the boot. That allowed the intercept mark to be taken by Dowling, who flares out to the eastern side straight away. Finds Cook, he's called a play on. Cook goes into the point of the centre square to Hinge, who just stands there. There's nobody with him. Finally, he gets the message to play on, goes down to half forward. Not the greatest of kicks for Keys, and Jaff comes forward and takes the mark for the Hawks at left half back on the eastern side. It's all falling apart for the Crows.
Certainly is. That's certainly not the kick they need off half-back. Hinge could generate speed. Mate, go full face of goal. We don't need to go wide from there.
I think what we're not seeing from Adelaide is they're so dangerous when they lead up and the Adelaide defenders and or midfielders hit them lace out as opposed to trying to play from behind.
Hawks go corridor. They got it down to centre half forward. Bruce just overran it. Ballets on the ground. Flicked it out. Couldn't find Cook. In came Nash for Hawthorn, and Cook with the tackle. Forces, or rather it was Michael Annie forcing the tackle, and umpire says ball it up, centre half forward for the Hawks.
Get a sense the Hawks love the contest.
Temperature dropping here in Adelaide, as is the crowd's enthusiasm for this contest. Adelaide slipping away. They get a free kick in the ruck contest. Meek impeding O'Brien. The kick is horrific to the outer side. Good job by Cook to make it work, but his disposal's just as poor. Looking for Hinge, he's coughed it up. Hit McDonald, into the 50 go the Hawks. Nankervis underneath it, couldn't control it. Picked up by Bruce, he drops it in the tackle. Keane hacks it out of there, bounces favourably. Michael Annie turns and chips it out of defensive 50 to Laird. He's at left half back.
Lairdy trying to give a bit of composure to the team. Let's see how it goes.
He dropped it short for Bond. Bond in turn short. There's 50 there. Ginnivan was within the area. Now he's arguing with the umpire. I don't think you're going to win that argument, Jack. It'll be 50, and Bond will go down the ground to near half forward. Decides to play on now. Sends it to Berry, who's wider, but basically where the 50 would have been taken anyway.
So they hit a leader.
Now Berry goes into the pocket with a kick. Walker was sitting under it and then flopped to the ground. Said he was pulled down by Frost. The ball came off the pack, over the line, 25 around from the goal face. Adelaide struggling to score. They've just got one behind in this quarter. The Hawks, importantly, have 3 goals, although they have been a little wayward with 5 behinds as well.
The Crows' last goal came at the 12-minute mark of the second term. Toss back in. Fogarty over the footy. Just can't barge through. He's got 3 tacklers.
What was a real strength of Adelaide? We spoke about their tools in the first quarter, but it's almost their weakness now because everyone's just going to that congested area.
O'Brien down looking for Keys. It bounced off, and Jaff can clear. The Hawks in the centre square. McDonald tucked it under one arm and then hands it to Bruce, riding shotgun. More now at the attacking edge of the square. There's a one-on-one in the 50, so he'll send it in that direction. Ball Ace backing in, but Newcomb's too good. Held his ground, brushed him aside, and the Prince of Poowong has a set shot, 25 out, tight angle to the left.
It's just the foot skills of Hawthorn actually been pretty impressive, haven't they, too, a lot of the time. Adelaide is just sort of getting that hack kick out at the pressure's there, the numbers, and reflected in the marks.
Jai Newcomb to make it a difficult task for the Crows. Comes in. Excellent strike of the footy. Newcomb's got his second. And the Hawks are up by a game high 43 points with a minute to play in the third. 13-8-86 to Adelaide 6-7-43. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts, Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson, two-time best and fairest Scott Thompson.
That was great work then by Newcomb. He took off from about centre-half forward, hard back to goal. When Moore had the ball at centre-half forward, where Borlase went wrong, whether he was just fatigued from chasing, I'm not sure, but he gave Newcomb his back, made it really easy to defend him, and it was outstanding bodywork by Newcomb. Easy mark, shot on goal, 6 points.
Well, I think for me, the two you touched on there, like Newcomb, his work rate too, and Will Day's ability to be able to just get to repeat contests and pull away. Those two have been clear standouts in and around the contest.
Newcomb with 2 goals and first possession out of the middle, not quite. Dragged down by Riley O'Brien. Good work from the Adelaide ruckman. Forces a ball up, so towards the eastern side of the centre square. O'Brien, beautiful tap down to Soligo. Off the left foot, just goes to half forward. Berry got a hand on it because he was pushed in the back and was falling. And the umpires rewarded him with a free kick right on 50. Here's a chance for Adelaide. Berry plays on from 50, belts it long, good kick, right on the line, and it was dropped by Fogarty, and it's through for the minus score. It hit the post in the end off Fogarty's hands. Everything falling for the Hawks. They've worked so hard, and Adelaide, nothing seems to be falling their way.
Truly unique quarter. The Hawks have had 48 kicks, 53 handballs, but they've covered 1,700 metres in this quarter. Adelaide have had 58 kicks, 34, which seems more efficient, but are actually 500 metres behind Hawthorn.
Hardwick, monster kick, high and long up the outer wing. Underneath it, the 2 rucks, off their hands. Watson charging by McDonald, tried to get it to Newcomb. He's driven forward by Keys. Umpire waits and says holding the ball.
Tough.
Craig Fleer, not sure there was much prior, but pinged Jai Newcomb in the end.
17-8 inside 50s, Aaron, to the Hawks' way this quarter.
Keys pops up and they've got to go. The clock's ticking away. Hands it to Nankervis, dummies and sends it long into the 50. They need a mark. Off the hands. Nankervis was, O'Brien rather, was underneath it and knocked away from him. It'll roll over the boundary line, and that'll about do us for 3 quarters of footy. So the Hawks have the last 7 goals. Adelaide hasn't kicked a major since the 12-minute mark of the second term. They're careering towards an 11th victory, the Hawks, and they'll be outside of the 8 on percentage. That being said, considering the way this is going, who knows? Maybe they can close that gap a little bit. They're up by 42 points heading into the final term. Hawthorn 13-8-86 to Adelaide 6-8-44. The goal scorers at 3-quarter time for the Hawks: 2 to Newcomb and Watson and Bruce. Singles to Impey, Day, Moore, McDonald, Scholl, Ginnivan and Deer. Meanwhile, for the Crows, we've got 2 for Walker, singles to Keys, Murphy, Philthorpe and Rochelle. A reminder for our listeners on local radio in South Australia, Tasmania and the Northern Territory, and our regional Australia listeners in Victoria and WA. We'll take you straight to day 2 of the Paris Olympics following the conclusion of this matchup. And you can hear our entire coverage of the Olympics throughout the next couple of weeks on regional Australia: Adelaide, Canberra, the Northern Territory, Gold Coast and Hobart. And the conclusion of the middle game earlier at the SCG, the Western Bulldogs defeated the Swans by 39 points. So Sydney, the ladder leaders, have lost 3 of their last 4, and the Dogs are inside the 8, just ahead of the Hawks on percentage. Hawthorn 13-8-86 to Adelaide 6-8-44. We'll rattle through a couple of your texts in a moment on 0437 774 774. But for now, it's great to have your company on ABC Radio, News Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Embark on adventures through ABC iView.
Now is the time.
Like with Miriam Margolyes. I'm on a quest.
Welcome to Broken Hill, Miriam.
Ningaloo.
It's one of the last intact places on the planet.
Tony Armstrong's Extraordinary Things.
Holy Hector.
We should have picked a smaller country.
Stuff the British stole.
It's been a treasury, it's been a temple. Is it also a crime scene?
And so many more. Always free, always adventurous on ABC iView.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
And then it went to Newcomb, and then Newcomb's forward hand pass found Impey in stride inside 50 and in goal kicking distance. Impey with the finish as the Hungry Hawks hit the first major of the second half. And inside 50, they've got Ginnivan, and Ginnivan marks unopposed around on the right foot, another goal.
Bruce cleanly gathers now to Scholl, sandwiched and brought down. Play continues. He dropped it. Gathered by Nash. Over the top to Watson. And he smashes it into the Riverbank stands. They'll be rioting, the Crows fans. Ball ace backing in, but Newcomb's too good. Held his ground. Brushed him aside. And the Prince of Poowong has a set shot, 25 outside angle to the left. Jai Newcomb to make it a difficult task for the Crows. Comes in, excellent strike of the footy. Newcomb's got his second.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The Hollywood Hawks resurgence has rolled into Adelaide, and they look good. They're up by 42 points at three-quarter time. They've kicked the last 7 goals, and they've had 13 of the last 15 scoring shots. It's an uphill battle for the Crows here. Otherwise, they'll be staring down an 11th defeat for their campaign, and the Hawks looking for an 11th victory. Earlier today, Collingwood defeated Richmond by 26, and the Dogs defeated the Swans by 39. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross calling the action. If you want to get in touch, the text line 0437 774 774. Marcus in South Melbourne is incredibly excited because he's realised that the Dockers are now a chance to finish top of the ladder, considering the Swans have lost 3 of their last 4, so it's definitely a possibility. Cam, Annabelle and Elise are ecstatic. They're travelling to Fraser Island in Queensland and enjoying the game. Great commentary and supporting the Hawks.
How good would that be?
Tom in Wheelers Hill, speaking of, has listening in a man cave, 4 foot 6 inches, big enough for the Hawks.
In a man cave?
Yeah. That's from Tom in Wheelers Hill. So
nice work.
Yeah. Good job, Tom. Liz downstairs has got some news for us ahead of Bounce Down.
Yeah, I've just seen Finn McGuinness, the Hawks sub, take his training T-shirt off, so it looks like he is about to be subbed into the game, and I'm just waiting to hear from Hawthorn as to who he'll be replacing on the field.
Elliot Himmelberg subbed out earlier for the Crows, so Dan Curtin into the game. It's his 3rd senior match as well. Jamo, Tomo, how have the Hawks got this done across the night?
Well, they've certainly dominated that quarter. The Crows were held goalless for the term. What I've loved about Hawthorn is their attack off half-back. Now, whether it's the way the Crows forwards have been playing, whether it's the Crows ball movement coming through the middle, but Hawthorn's spring off half-back and their ability to go inside and open up the whole ground for their forward half has been really hard, and the Crows haven't been able to defend it. And we saw it numerous times from Impey, through Scrimshaw, through Weddle in that quarter, through Amon at times, where they really generate not only speed in the ball, but the right decision piece to hit the kick, where the Crows' inability out of their back half, they had big numbers, like Nankervis defender, Keane defender, Michael Annie defender, all had big numbers, but going nowhere. Yeah. And when they were going forward, it was rushed through Hawthorn's good pressure, and then it was often turnover and back the other way again.
Just further support that, Impey's had 248 metres gained in that quarter alone too. And then McDonald, he also had 9 disposals, 169 metres gained, the 2 highest. Well, you got Sam Berry, who won 64, 163 Keane in the back, but the 2 highest disposal winners were Nankervis and Scholl with 117. So I think that's that transition. They're getting a lot of the football where Adelaide aren't damaging the opposition, where we know that how they prefer to play. So the Hawks not only attacking, but have really negated and strongly defended Adelaide.
Hawthorn by 42. The final term underway. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Meek down, looking for Warple. Shrugged off the Sligo tackle. Disposal, though, only found Dowling on the wing. Cuts inside and gave it straight back to McGuinness. The frustration seeping out of the home crowd. He'll retreat back today and up to the broadcast wing. Bouncing footy that rolls towards the line. And Ginnivan can't keep it in. So it'll be tossed back in just behind left half forward.
Aaron, the highlight for me for the 3rd quarter for the Crows was the fact that Dan Curtin was injected into the game. had immediate impact, strong body, strong tackle, 4 disposals. He started on the bench.
Out of the ruck contest, Keys receives from O'Brien, down towards half forward. At the front was Rochelle. Rochelle inside 50 to Walker. Marks it wide out. Phil Thorpe gave a half a lead, turned around and saw that Walker was settling himself and figures, well, might as well go back to the line because this is within Taylor Walker's wheelhouse.
We've only seen it a few times tonight, Crossy, as well. Rochelle, quick kick out in front. I think it's Scrimshaw decided to stand off Taylor Walker. Kick was lace out.
Walker comes in, starts it out to the left, hooks it slightly. It's not going to make the distance and through for the behind in the end. So Adelaide cut the margin to 42 early in the final quarter. Liz Walsh on the boundary.
Just confirming, Finn McGuinness has been subbed into the game for the Hawks. Luke Bruce has been subbed out. That's a tactical move.
Sicily booms it to the broadcast swing on the logo now. Coming through, Deer gathers, hands it across on the Jets more. Caught in the tackle from behind by Michaelani. Footy pops out, shoots its way to Nankervis. Laird to Hinge. Chain of handballs across right half back. Nankervis over the top to Scholl. Flirting with the boundary line. He got the wrong angle. Saligo was waiting through centre wing and he's totally missed him. Out on the full.
Gemmo, we gave Tex the benefit of the doubt in the first quarter. Has own 30, and he's a beautiful kick. Has the old boy lost a yard or two?
Certainly slowing down. He looks that way tonight. He's really struggled all year, hasn't he, too, with his back right at the start of the season. That's kept him in and out of the turn.
Amon's kick cut off by Walker. They look to switch to the defensive 50. They're under a bit of pressure, though. Deer wanted to keep fighting. Keane didn't realise he was in a bit of trouble. Had to rush the exit. Looking for Saligo. It ricochets off him. Straight back to Meek. The big man goes for a run to the goal square. Deer's outnumbered 2-1 and nearly clunked it. He may get the free kick anyway. Hinge is ropeable. They had the advantage. All they had to do was bring it to ground, and in the end, Cole Shadir will be handed the footy. Slight angle to the left, 10 out.
All they had to do was put pressure on Meek, just stream forward. All the Crows folded back, and that kick would never have been there in the first place. So that's been one of the things in the Crows game throughout the whole of it, where they've just continued to fold back when Hawthorn are on an offensive attack.
The 18-year-old Hawk relishing in the absence of Mitch Lewis. Deer comes in and kicks his second. Hawthorn's lead continues to grow. Game high, 48 points. The Hawks move to 14-8-92. The Crows 6-9-45. 3 minutes into the final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans and Neil Cross with you. Your experts, Premiership Crow Rod Jamieson, Showdown medalist Scott Thompson.
And 10 goal scorers to the Hawks. Multiple players that have kicked a couple of goals, but as this game is getting on, it's getting out to a margin. This could potentially be 10, 12 goal loss, which would not be ideal for Adelaide and Matthew Nicks.
I know it means nothing, but Hinge went back then and Deer actually put his arm out and made contact with Hinge. It wasn't front-on contact at all made by Hinge.
I didn't think there's a whole lot in it.
Anyway, back in the middle. Hawks have certainly been superior. Second half has been brilliant. Warple over the ball. Did he drag it in? No, the umpire says, let's ball it up. Hawks are going forward again, just ahead of the centre circles. O'Brien taps it down. Day was first to it, tackled immediately by Laird.
And I'm not defending Adelaide here too, but they've taken some top 4, top 8 teams along the way, the Hawks. They've taken Fremantle, the Giants, Brisbane, St Kilda and the Western Bulldogs in the last 6 to 8 weeks.
Saligo out of the ruck contest, goes long and hopefully to half forward, and read best by Scrimshaw. Goes inboard with his kick, finds Newcomb. Newcomb spreads it to this broadcast side of the ground as Sicily. Marks ahead of Fogarty, and that's play on. Fogarty pointing it out, and the umpire agreeing. Hand pass went back inside to Hardwick. D'Ambrosio dropped the chest mark, flicked it out the hand pass. Sicily came through, flicks a hand pass over the top. McGuinness takes it forward, hand pass Ginnivan. Ginnivan with the kick inside forward 50. Keane had the better of his man, got the ball to ground. Moore picked it up and he was immediately taken in a tackle by Scholl. A little bit of afters from Moore on Scholl. And ball will be thrown in.
It's with the little blokes, always pushing and shoving. Aaron?
Don't look at me.
You do it to me in the box all the time.
Pushing and shoving, Jamo. What showdown was it when you got in that big punch up?
Showdown 1.
That was the first one.
The first one.
It's a Napoleon complex, isn't it? Where tumbles it, trying to get out of defensive 50 off the throw-in, and Taylor's caught in a tackle.
That was Scott Cummings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did you clip him? Did you get him?
Yeah, he had a few bruises.
Ball up close to the attacking 50 arc, and O'Brien wins it down straight to Hinge. He's wrapped up, so the Hawks continue to press. Up by 47. Early stages of the final term. Meek down to Moore. Blind turn through traffic. Flung the footy out, trying to get past Dowling. And a free kick to the young Crow in defensive 50. A reminder, if you're listening in regional Victoria and WA, or on local radio in South Australia, Tasmania and the Northern Territory, we'll take you straight to day 2 of the Paris Olympics. After the siren here. Kick intended for Rochelle. Waited for the drop, and Impey back with the flight, cleaned him up. Front on contact, free kick.
He didn't need to do that. That was out on the full. Would have been Hawthorn's ball.
Rochelle down the line. Walker slipped over. Won't matter because O'Brien took the mark. He popped back up, Walker, and had no opponent. The slip actually helped him. Floated forward. O'Brien put it in his path, and he takes it back with the flight. 25 out, tight angle to the right.
Right, well, the ex-skipper, he's kicked 2-goal-3 tonight. This is absolutely gettable, although he does go to the right. And he does have a shot at goal, so he'll put and make the angle a little harder.
I'm going to back him in, Jamo.
Wide post.
Walker starts at right half forward, crosses the paint of 50. It starts right, and a direct straight kick that's through for a minor score. So the Crows trail by 46. 14-8-92 to 6-10-46. 7 minutes into the final term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Well, Carlton only kicked 1 goal in the second half, too. Adelaide, you get to register 1 in the third, and what are we, 7 minutes into the fourth?
2 behinds.
So Adelaide kick or get the ball turned over? No, not quite. It's on this members' side of the ground, the broadcast side of the ground. Scholl just wandered through a couple of tacklers, got the ball forward. Still the Hawks push the hand pass forward through Warple, and then McDonald, and then McGuinness. And McGuinness goes inside forward 50 with his kick. Ginnivan knocked it on. Murphy went across and was hammered with the tackle high by Watson. And Watson's kept on holding him in a headlock. The umpire says, what? He's said just a free kick and that's it. Well, I don't know. Watson held on for a long time.
Yeah, I would have thought maybe a 50 was appropriate.
And Murphy comes away. Down the line he goes, and Long, and Scholl comes over the top and takes a strong mark away from Riley O'Brien and Fogarty, who are competing for Adelaide.
I think that's what we want to see more of Mabior Chol too. He's just such an athletically gifted player. Doesn't do it enough.
Scholl back into the 50. Keane nearly cut it off. It slipped straight through his hands. Deer on the tight angle at the back. Tried to work some magic. Set up on the goal line, and Dowling's there to cut it off. So Billy Dowling for the Crows. Now in front of the scoreboard, Cathedral End. Running out of room as he played on, and closing was Bruce, and he's kicked it out on the full. The pressure caught up with him, and it's a tale of Adelaide tonight. Poor disposal. Hawthorn's ability to just press and press.
I'll have to get a foe after the game. I might just go now.
They might need you for the wrap-up, Jamo. There's a lot to unpack here.
Let's go straight to the Olympics, please, Aaron.
Hawks by 46. Jarman Impey's going to take the set shot off the free kick. So he'll start on the fence. This is a very tight angle, and he's fooled everybody. Looks to square it up late. Rising was Deer. Got a fist to it in the end. Knocked it straight to Warple. Now from 35. McDonald snaps around the body. Chol, strong in the goal square. Takes it on the chest straight in front.
That's too easy. But going back to Dowling's kick, that was a perfect example of what we spoke about throughout the third quarter. The Crows' inability when they're in their back half to either move and set up the ground the right way or back themselves in to pull the kick. They're just doubting themselves and gone away from what has worked for them in the games that they have played really well, because their attacking ball movement at times can be elite.
Scholl, comfortable, composed, methodical in his approach, and pops it through for his second. Hawthorn up by 52. 15-8, 98 to 6-10, 46. 10 minutes into the final term. Jamo, you wondered how the post-game is going to look. So, as I mentioned, our listeners, regional, Victoria and WA, and local radio in SA, Tas and the Northern Territory, straight to the Paris Olympics. But we've still got listeners in local radio in the likes of, Victoria, also news radio listeners. So we'll be sticking around till 7:30 Eastern to wrap this up. So we're not losing everybody. You've got to stick around.
Are you serious? Did you say 7:30?
7:30 Eastern.
Oh, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock here.
7 o'clock here.
Another hour.
Earn your paycheck. Hawks by 52.
Gamo's checked out. He's got one thing on his mind.
Ball in the middle. Phil Thorpe's been thrown in the middle by the Crows. Probably had the better of the ruck contest, but it's now going to be another ball up with Keys taking possession, Warple tackling him. So Meek opposed to Thilthorpe, who reaches over the top. McDonald takes it away, gives it to Meek, and then a hand pass off to Newcombe, who sends the Hawks forward and deep. And Ginnivan tried to get rid of his man, brought the ball to ground at least. Watson was there, so was Moore, and the Mosquito Brigade takes the ball, and now Ginnivan wants a high tackle, and the umpire says no. He's pulled down close to the boundary line. And
the umpire came in crossing from the middle of the ground and overrode him.
I had the glasses up looking at the play close and missed the umpire from 50 metres away, who picked up that there was a errant arm over the shoulder. So Ginnivan checks out the ball, checks out the score, checks out the crowd. Let's see if he can actually complete the kick.
He looks like James Rowe with that haircut.
He hits the near post as he hooks it around. Ginnivan with the long sleeves, the long shorts, and the short hair for a change. Minor score in any case. Margin 53 in favour of the Hawks through 12 minutes of the final quarter on ABC Sport.
I'm happier with Ginnivan's shorter hair. I could not stand how fidgety he was with that headband.
That's Scott Thompson, All-Australian midfielder. Rod Jamieson, your other expert tonight. And the long exit works for the Crows as Hinch finds Fogarty. Couple of juggles. I thought he clunked that, and he kept walking to the boundary line under pressure and decided to pay the boundary throw-in. Hardwick kept fighting with him. Weddle has got a finger in there, I reckon, which is why they haven't paid it. So do we toss back into play? Hawks by 53, Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Meek wins it down to Ginnivan, hands it off to Ward. Crumpled in the tackle, got a kick away towards the 50-25 out. Hinges can cut it off for the Crows, hands it to Laird, he gives it away. Ginnivan left half forward, spears it inside to Nash. A snap around the body, hit and hope, bounces in the hole, right past Ball Ace, who was charging out. Dowling with the assist though at the back as Chol hit the deck. Hands it to Jones in front of the scoreboard, off a step, bangs it, looking for territory, and Sicily was sitting back. The milestone man, game 150, gets a chance to hit the scoreboard and further punish the Crows.
Well, they've been very good. I didn't think they were going to be good enough in the first quarter the way that they did defend Adelaide, but since then, quarter time, they have been incredible going forward. Their use of the football and their team defence and run and rebound off the half-back.
Pick 56 in 2013, the All-Australian skipper for the Hawks, James Sicily, in game 150 strikes it pure, and they come from everywhere to celebrate their main man. James Sicily joins the goal scorers as Hawthorn raises the bat at the Adelaide Oval, 16-9-105 to Adelaide 6-10-46, a game high 59 points. If you've just joined us recently, Adelaide were up by 6 at quarter time, and they had one goal basically since then. They've had the one goal. Hawthorn were up by 15 at the half, 42 at three-quarter time, now up by 59. And into the terms of the live ladder earlier today, the Dogs defeated the Swans by 39, so they're in the 8. Hawthorn's behind them on percentage in 9th, but they're closing in on what could be a miraculous comeback, Jamo, from 0-5.
Or just certainly the win itself here at Adelaide Oval. We spoke earlier about how difficult it is when they do come here, but to win as they have and the percentage that they're going to heap on tonight also.
O'Brien with a tap down. Chol picks it up on the ground, dodges one way, then goes around to his left foot and then drops a kick over the top that couldn't find day. In the end, he spilled it, but he's got support. And it comes from McDonald, and McDonald goes long off the left foot. Ball ace comes across for Adelaide. Could easily have taken the mark. Went the punch. Out of bounds in the left forward pocket. Just for the Hawks, this is the 5th time this season they've kicked 100 plus. They've won the 4 previous games, and clearly they're going to win tonight. They've also conceded 100 plus 5 times. Not tonight, that's for sure.
Toss back into play. O'Brien down, was looking for Keys. Warple over him, wrenched out of there by D'Ambrosio, jammed it forward. Watson the target, spoilt away top of the goal square. Clean pick up by McDonald, but he's wrapped up by Bonds. And eyes for his target. We'll get a ball up 25 out straight in front.
I think Crow supporters have had enough. They are flooding out at the moment.
Craig Fleer tosses it in the air off hands. Thrashed out of there by Dowling. Long kick to the broadcast wing. Rolling into open real estate. Fogarty on the charge. Frost behind him. And Fogarty gets there first. The big fend off on Hardwick. Couple of bounces. The stand-in skipper spent too much. Did he? The sidestep and then brushed off 2 tacklers. I thought he was done. Got it to Berry. He's wrapped up by Scrimshaw. They just keep fighting Adelaide. Fogarty now in the pocket. Can't beat Amon to the footy, and Hawthorn get away. Hardwick long down the broadcast wing. Fogarty has tried to do everything there.
He's cooked.
He's cooked.
He looks absolutely knackered. Cook to O'Brien. Back into the 50. Go Adelaide. Rochelle underneath it. 2 flyers for the Hawks. Off hands. Thilthorpe paddled it straight to Taylor. The spin and the tackle. Got it to Fogarty, but he threw it. Free kick to Hawthorn. Up by 59. It's been a night to forget for the Crows faithful here at the Adelaide Oval.
The Fogs had 3 bounces and a couple of bumper bars, and he couldn't go a yard when he got it back again.
So the Hawks just chip it out wide to Amon, and Amon then goes in short to Sicily. Be a 150 that he will remember. He just drops it over the top, down on the eastern side. Ward with the mark, gave it to Amon. Amon to McGuinness. All of this forward hand pass. Then McDonald. Now to Amon again. All of these are hand passes. Off to Nash. Nash gets a chance, takes the kick, sends it high. Chol's there, takes the mark. Of course he does. Ball ace look for the body, and Chol look for the ball. So he's got the mark right on 50, slightly to the right of the goalposts. Decides that, yeah, why not? I can make this distance. Tucks the mouth guard away in the sock.
Love to see him let go with a big screw punt or something like that.
Well, he's decided to go with a very short 25 metre pass, and McDonald was left alone inside 50, and he's only some 35 out. Now, I'm pretty confident with Chol's preparation then that McDonald is actually going to have a shot at goal.
I don't know that, and it probably doesn't work as much anymore where coaches would just let rip on a team, but I would give Matty Nix the authority to do that tonight and feel some pain.
I think they absolutely deserve it. I'll talk about it after this kick.
So McDonald comes in and celebrates another one for the Hawks. They are a happy team, there's no doubt about that. 2 for McDonald. 17 now for the Hawks. 17 goals, 9, 111. They are absolutely pantsed the Adelaide Crows. 6-10-46. And we are approaching time on in the final quarter. And for the Crows fans who are left, it can't come quickly enough.
Let's go back to that play where Fogarty was bouncing down the wing, and yes, he had the aggression to take him on. I watched 2 Hawthorn players. One was Weddle. I think the other one may have been Scrimshaw. They've run 100 metres and not given up on that contest to force pressure on the ball, which ends up turning over and allows Hawthorn to win the ball back. That is one of the main reasons that Hawthorn have won 10 of their last 12 games. Not one player gives up on the contest. The pressure is elite, and then it sets up their springboard out of the back half.
Jordan Butts, Nick Murray and Jordan Dawson were all outs tonight. I don't think it's not a 65-point margin. They are significant, 2 key defenders and your captain, but not 10 goals.
In the middle, Chol wins the hit out against O'Brien. Down to Day and now Newcombe for the Hawks. Up by 65, as Jamo mentioned, to the outer side. Chol has floated across to right half forward, and the kick hits him clean. Too far out to score in front of the Odie stand. Narbia Chol, the journeyman, looks at home at the Hawks, sends it to the top of the goal square. Ball ace with the fist, front and square. Warple left it behind, becomes the tackler though. holds things up, 25 out.
Last 10 minutes time in possession, 50% to the Hawks and only 11 to Adelaide.
Rod Jamieson, Scott Thompson, your experts. Aaron Bryans, Neil Cross with you. Well, the Hawks will be outside the 8 on percentage, but ever so close.
Behind the play, Max Michael Annie.
It's put down Dylan Moore and it's on.
Yep.
Bit of a scuffle. It will be a free kick to the Hawks when it settles. This gives me a chance as well, speaking of melees, that there is some carnage out of the state-based rivalries yesterday. So in the Q Clash, Bodie Hewland has been pinged 1 match for rough conduct on Lockie Neal. And in the Western Derby, Jack Petrocelli, 1 match ban for rough conduct on Sean Darcy. 1 match ban for Nat Fyfe. It's still going. Dylan Moore wants to take his kick. Sicily's alone at the top of the goal square. What a gift. And he sent it out of the Adelaide Oval. Watch out if you park close to the Bob Quinn gate, because your car's in danger. Sicily has absolutely rocketed that. The Crows and just caught up in that scuffle. Matthew Nicks will be infuriated. Hawthorn's up by 71. 18-9, 117 to 6-10-46. And we've still got 6 to play. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Just finished those. So Petrocelli, 1 match ban for rough conduct. Nat Fyfe, a 1 match ban for striking Jai Cully. And Jack Hutchinson, a 1 match ban for rough conduct on Andy Brayshaw. So 4 bans out of the Q Clash and the Western Derby.
Watching the replay, they've got a couple of different angles where Max Michaelani, looks like it might have been a fist to the stomach. So
intentional?
Oh, clearly. Yeah. Ball went up. Gave him a whack. Might be a bit of money in amongst all that, Crossy, too, you think? There's a number of players involved for quite some time.
Oh, they'll call it a melee and offer up donations out of the middle. Crows come away through Laird. By the way, Sicily's playing at full forward at the moment. If you're wondering how he slipped forward, Hawks fans, they've got it down to half forward. Worked the ball around. Murphy went back to Scholl. He was absolutely smashed.
He got folded in half.
And then Jaff finally received from Scrimshaw and he took off. And he was chased down by Hinge. It affected the kick. They've still got it at half forward. Moore goes inside, was taken high, said the umpire. Play on as Watson runs away from Laird, sends it long, and standing back there, O'Brien. Scholl wasn't happy with the delivery for Hawthorn, so O'Brien with the intercept mark, 25 out, straight in front of the goals. Now he's called to play on, and he sends it wide looking for, well, in the end it's marked easily by Impey. He was in search of Curtin, but without Curtin able to get to the contest, courtesy of some blocking.
Impey, searing kick, low and hard as he hooks it towards the left forward pocket. Didn't favour Sicily, but he became the tackler to hold things up, 25 out.
He's done well to hang in there, Sicily too. That right shoulder was clearly bothering him. He can hardly lift it, and even in that tackle.
They've admitted he'll need surgery at the end of the year, so he's just hanging on, considering they're still in the hunt for September. Speaking of, 2 Hawks have just collided. D'Ambrosio slid in trying to get the ball drop. Newcomb bowled him over. Ball trickles its way to left half forward for the Hawks. And Weddle becomes the tackler on Saligo, and both D'Ambrosio and Newcomb have popped up okay, which is good to see. So Hawthorn by 71. Still a couple of minutes left here at the Adelaide Oval. Saligo out of the stoppage, pushed over the boundary line, right in front of Liz Walsh.
Yeah, Jarth came from the ground just before after a very heavy tackle from Mitch Hinge. He was in the hands of doctors for a while, but it seems that he's okay now.
Crows again without a goal since the 11-minute mark of the second term. It's been an absolute debacle, and McDonald takes the ball away from the ruck contest, sends it long. Ball comes off the pack. Ginnivan picks it up, snaps it over the shoulder, and another one for the Hawks. Ginnivan celebrating his second of the night. The Hawks with an absolutely massive victory now. This will do their finals hopes no harm in terms of percentage as well. 19-9, 123. Adelaide 6-10-46. 23 minutes down in the final term.
This is one of the worst I think I've seen from Adelaide, particularly in the last 5 years. I'd have to say, just their capitulation around the football, their lack of desire to just want to stay in the contest. It's clearly evident that the speed particularly by leg, is lacking at the moment. Isaac Rankin being out, but that's only one player, and the ability for the Hawks to be able to just run Adelaide down and put the pressure on, and we've spoken about how good they have been to work hard when they don't have the footy.
Back down to Liz Walsh.
Meanwhile, the crowd behind me they are starting to boo the Crows down here.
41,000 in-house. They're not happy. Hawthorn by 77. Closing in on a spot in the top 8. Tapped up towards centre-half forward for the Hawks. Nash did well up against Bond. Handed it out towards Chol. Breaking away from Jones. Gives it to Newcomb. Darts it to McDonald. And chisels it inside 50 to Moore.
It's become a training drill.
25 out, slide angle to the left. And gives me a bit of time to run through some of the records. So for the Hawks, this is their biggest ever, well, it's going to be their biggest ever win at the Adelaide Oval. It's also the most they've ever scored here. In terms of overall victories over Adelaide, it's currently their second biggest. They beat the Crows by 97 at Footy Park, as Moore goes from 48 and it's wayward to the right. So a minor score, Hawthorn up by 78. Liz, you're keeping busy.
Oh, it just gets worse for the Crows down here. Mark Keane's now from the ground on the doctor's bench in the hands of trainers. Looks like he's having an issue with his groin down here.
Hawks, meanwhile, after Adelaide managed to get the ball at the front end of the square, Hawks have taken over. Impey going wide with his kick. D'Ambrosio chips it in near the logo on centre wing to Nash. Inside the centre square by himself was Warple. Plays on immediately. Sends it long and deep. Chol gets one hand on the ball. Can't get two. Laird just tumbles the ball towards the 50. It's picked up and handed off by Curtin. And then have to check who that was. I was for a second thinking it was Ball Ace in the end. For a moment there, I thought they'd sent Fogarty back there.
It's a bit of a pylon, wasn't it? There's three bodies on top of him. Hard to distinguish. Kick out of defensive 50 wasn't great. It rolls towards the boundary line on the outer side. Liz again.
Mark Keane's day is definitely done. He is now having ice strapped onto his left thigh, so he is out of the game.
A reminder as well, listeners in regional Victoria, WA and local radio in South Australia, Tasmania and the Northern Territory, we're going to take you straight to day 2 action of the Paris Olympics. Australia top of the medal tally. Toss back into play. Everybody else will stick with us for the wrap-up here. As Ward out of the stoppage hands it to Newcomb, then Nash. He's wrapped up by Keys. Free kick to go to Nankervis for his tackle on Newcomb. So the young man has it. Defensive edge of the square. Straight up the corridor. Rochelle courageous with the kick. Walker's floated it forward. Unmanned and marks 35 out. Slight angle to the right. The crowd goes mild.
Well,
most of them are already gone, Jamo.
It's a little bit quiet, isn't it, too? This Adelaide game, just one of the few times they've been able to move it reasonably quickly from one end of the ground to the other. First quarter, yes. Outside of that, no. And Taylor Walker a little bit of space.
Big moment as well. They haven't kicked a goal since the 12-minute mark of the second term. And Taylor Walker breaks the drought. It's not something to be proud of, but a late consolation prize at least. Margin back down to 72 as Tex has 3. 19-10, 124 the Hawks to the Crows, 7-10, 52.
He's having a chat to Jack Ginnivan, or Jack was having a chat to him. Run 20 or 30 metres to do so.
Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Rod Jamieson, Scott Thompson, your experts. The text line as well, if you want to join us for the post-game. 0437 774 774. Brendan from Hobart says lean pickings for the Crows since 98. When you look back on it, there's only been one flag in this state in 30 years, Jamo.
Yeah, again, there's plenty of other clubs that have struggled in 10, 15, 20 years, so there's no lone club, but without any of the detail in front of me, made the prelim a couple of times, certainly made the grand final and got rolled, so they're just hard. They're
could be worse. Hard. Could be worse. You could be a St Kilda fan.
Correct.
Ball back in the middle.
What's that, 1968?
66. Out of the middle, Warple. Hand pass off to Newcomb, trying to get it back. Laird was involved, got a 1-2 with Murphy. All in a confined space, and then finally Murphy gets the ball out wide looking for Taylor, running back with a flight, couldn't take it. He had support from Scholl, whose kick to half forward was good. He got Rochelle, and Rochelle quickly takes his kick, long, direct, and Thilthorpe with the mark. Frosted left him, and Thilthorpe got in behind. 15 metres out, just to the left of the posts. Consolation stuff for Adelaide. If ever there was consolation of a consolation of a consolation, this goal, if he kicks it, would be it.
Yeah, a couple of late ones that were still going to be 11-goal loss. That's not good.
Even at this stage, 10 goals to 1 in the second half in favour of the Hawks. Thilthorpe with a goal. Precious little celebration. Just a little bit of a fist pump with a couple of players. A couple of high fives, and that's it. Margin 66 points. Thilthorpe kicks his second of the evening. And Hawthorn 19-10-124. Adelaide 8-10-58. We're 31 minutes into a long final quarter. If you're a Crows fan, and for the Hawks and their fans listening out there, how good have been Hawthorn?
The last 12 weeks certainly hasn't it too, just the way, and just to back themselves in after, I guess sometimes when you actually are that far behind, you're 0-5, you've almost got to just say, let's just go. Let's just have a red-hot go, and they've gained a whole heap of momentum.
High bounce in the middle. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. O'Brien down to Saligo, clotheslined by Chol. Free kick to go the Crows' way. Saligo wants to get it moving, but time ticks away. And Hawthorn's fairy tale writes another chapter. The Hawks are soaring towards the top 8 after a 0-5 start. They win by 66 points at the Adelaide Oval.
We're the mighty fighting Hawks. We love our club and we play to win. Riding the pucks with a grin and Hawthorn. Come on, hey, find us riding. Teamwork is the thing that goes. One for all and all for one, the way we play it for. We are the mighty fighting Hawks.
The Crows led by 6 at quarter time and by 5 at the 12-minute mark of the second term. After that, it was all Hawthorn. 13 goals, 9 to 2-4 blew it out to a 66-point victory. 19-10-124 to 8-10-58. 2 goals to Deere, Watson, Ginnivan, McDonald, Bruce, Chol and Newcomb. Singles to Impey, Sicily, Day and more. The Hawks have won 10 of their last 12. They're 11-8 and outside the top 8 on percentage. Up round 20 of the AFL. Hawks, the Hawks winners by 66 points. For our listeners in regional Victoria and WA, and in local radio South Australia, Tasmania and the Northern Territory, you're off to day 2 action of the Paris Olympics. And for everybody else, you're with us for the next 8.5 minutes as we wrap up things here at the Adelaide Oval. The Dogs winners by 39 points over the Swans earlier today, so they've moved into the top 8, and the Hawks just behind them, missing out on what would have been a dream to get into the top 8 on the road. But there's still a month to play, and they're right in the thick of things, Hawthorn. Rod Jamieson, Scott Thompson, how'd they get it done?
Well, it was a pretty even battle early on in the first quarter, wasn't it, Jamo? The Crows got a number of looks on goal. We commented on how efficient and how good their tall forwards were early, and their ability when the ball did hit the ground to bring pressure through the likes of Murphy, through Keys, Rochelle a couple of times, and all of them at different opportunities and different times got looks on goal, but that faded very quickly.
Yeah.
Just quickly as well, I bottled that timing there. So we've got 38 minutes.
I thought you went 8 minutes and I had my arms up above my head.
It's good for Hawks fans. We'll get the song, we'll get an interview as well with Liz downstairs. She probably thought she was high and dry as well. But plenty of time to recap this result. So, yeah, take your time, Jamo.
Well, again, just to Tomo's point, the height of Adelaide through Thilthorpe, Walker, and the ability to be able to get it into their forward 50, it was actually 4 marks inside 50 to 1 in favour of the Hawks. Last week they hardly had any again too, but what's ended up tonight is marks inside 50 has actually been Hawthorn's way, which is 10 to 8. So outside of that first quarter, Adelaide couldn't even take a mark across the 3 quarters, which is clearly reflected in only kicking 2-goal-4 in that second half to 10-goal-7. So they just dismantled their speed and their ability to be able to hold on to the football and move forward, which was clearly different to how they defended, because Adelaide transitioned and didn't go forward. So it just makes the defence, any defence just love to do that, because you just slide side to side. And Hawthorn were able to cut their way through Adelaide, and their quick handball too. I thought that was quite impressive tonight.
Yeah, their ball movement was sharp, and we go back to again the first quarter, and we spoke about how good Hawthorn were offensively and their efficiency going inside forward 50. But on the flip side, their inability to defend when the Crows got their ball movement going. But once Hawthorn got their defensive action set the right way, Adelaide, not only did they lose any form of composure, they lost all of their ball movement together, and everything became rushed. And yes, it was on the back of Hawthorn's good pressure, which then turned to perceived pressure, but the Crows' doubt crept in and they lost all ball movement and just could not penetrate their forward half for a long period of time there. And when the pressure builds and builds and builds, at some point the damn wall's going to break, and that's what we saw throughout the game. The Crows kicked 1 goal really for nearly 3/4 of the footy. Yes, they got the 2 late ones. You don't really count them. The game was dead and buried. So they've nearly kicked only the 1 goal in 3/4 of football, barring those last 2, where Hawthorn just had the whole game on their terms. And you talk marks to control the game and set it up the way you want, but uncontested possession, that outside ball, the ability to work into space and get your work rate going was, plus 60 odd for Hawthorn. 58, I think it was in the end. It's too hard to compete when the game is that lopsided.
Connor McDonald was a standout for the Hawks. He had 28, 20 uncontested, 6 ground ball and 4 inside 50 as the Hawks players now just separate and go to their Hawthorn. So there's quite a few here, isn't there, too, particularly up the northern end.
It looks like there's more because there's no Crow supporters left making their way out of the ground.
Well, I reckon the 41,000 that were here halfway through the last, it would have been at least 25.
Yep.
25. They filtered out very quickly, the Crow supporters.
Yep. But well done to all the Hawk supporters too, just all around the fence as they're hanging around and all the players are going out to say good day.
Well, there's a good chance we might struggle with, what do we have, 38 minutes of post-game to get
35 now.
to get an interview in the rooms, because
we will.
They will take their time and they will lap this up, Hawthorn. As I said, their record here hasn't been great, but certainly their record this season now really stands with the best, and you just wonder how far they can go.
It's an amazing story as well, which I'm sure we'll get more detail of as finals get closer. But 0-5, they lose to the Suns at Carrara, and from all reports, Sam Mitchell pulls the players together in the rooms, publicly questions their professionalism, and basically says to the senior players, you have to go do all the media this week, you're facing the music, and we have to implement some changes in this program. You need to own the improvement and the development of this squad, put it in the players' hands, and they've fully responded since then. It's been an amazing turnaround in form for a young list. To have a coach in essentially his second year question you like that, especially from a professional standpoint, Jamo, that's a big question to be asked of senior footballers.
Well, I think sometimes you have to, and when you actually have to be accountable for your own actions, you do a little bit of extra work, you probably do an extra session, you do another weight session, you recover better, you watch what you eat. But I heard, one of the greatest, Jason Dunstall, say this morning, he didn't expect a whole lot from Hawthorn this season at all. He thought that they would go along and improve a little bit. I think we've seen parts last year. Called a game, I think they played Adelaide down in Tassie when he called that. They wanted to play fast footy, but I don't think they knew how to do it. They were turning the football over, they were getting beaten a lot. But when they did, it showed glimpses. But this year they've really flipped, and something has clicked, and they are playing really strong, hard, energetic, youthful football. Whereas he also spoke about Adelaide. He expected great things from Adelaide. I think we'd all be fair in the box here. I felt Adelaide were a top 8 side. I was pretty bullish, probably top 6. But to start Love 3 again and then have to work their way back into it. Yes, they've had some injuries, but to get belted by 66 points, 11, 12 goals at home, game where, yes, there are some injuries, probably 4 Key, Rankin, Butts,
Dawson,
Nick Murray back into the side. I think they're probably the four that certainly make Adelaide better, but again, as we touched on in that last quarter, not a 10-goal difference.
Hawks making their way down the race. The thoughts of Rod Jamieson and Scott Thompson. 0437 774 774 is the text line. Fran from Melbourne's wondering if we can give a rundown of the ladder. We'll do that in a moment's time for you, Fran. But let's head into the winners' rooms. Liz Walsh standing by. The Hawks victorious by 66.
Thanks, Aaron. They certainly are. And James Sicily has just run straight through the rooms, and I'm not sure where, but he's not going. Well, I suppose he'll come back to sing this song because it's such an important day for him. Oh, here he comes. So in they come. You can hear them. They're quite loud down here. There were only about 5 parents and friends in here before, but more have since come in, which is excellent for them. And here they go, just all getting together. And here we go. Are we ready for the song?
We're a happy team at Hawthorn. We're the mighty fighting Hawks. Riding the guns with the green at Hawthorn. Come and make fight the stride. Sing the song for 3, 2, 1 for all another one. We're at Hawthorn. We are the mighty fighting Hawks.
And there you have it. You might have actually just heard Jack Scrimshaw saying a few things into Jar's ear. I'm not sure what it was, but he wasn't singing the song, that's for sure. But it certainly is a very happy team at Hawthorn down here.
Very boisterous are the Showtime Hawks as well, but they're young, they're full of energy as well, and yeah, what a performance they put on in the back half of the season. So Fran mentioned on the text line, what is the state of play? We've got a month of footy remaining, and the list of contenders has dwindled a little bit, but gee, it's a close pack. So Sydney lost earlier today by 39 points. They're still a game and a draw ahead of Brisbane, so essentially 2 wins in first. The Lions and the Dockers sit equal at 12 wins, 6 losses and a draw, 50 points. Brisbane in second on percentage, the Dockers third. In terms of the run home, Fremantle has the harder of the two. So Sydney play Port Adelaide next Saturday. Brisbane have got St Kilda, Fremantle and Essendon. Then we've got in 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, 4 teams locked on 48 points or 12 wins. It goes Carlton, the Giants, Geelong and Port Adelaide in 7th. The Dogs have just crept into the 8th, so they've got 11 wins now on 44 points. And then the live update has Hawthorn in 9th, just behind them by 15%. So they've got 11 wins as well, but 15% separates 8th and 9th. The Dogs are in, the Hawks are out. And the fallout of the round. So the Bombers' big loss to the Saints, where a month ago they were in 2nd, and they've dropped down to 10th. Still in the hunt, though, half a game out. Melbourne are a full game or full victory out. They're in 40 points in 11th after their loss to the Giants. Collingwood still in the hunt after their win over Richmond earlier today, so the worst of the percentages, but still on 40 points. And the Suns would think they're a bit of a chance, but it's going to get hard from here. They're on 36. So we're basically down to 13 contenders. The Saints and the Crows no longer a mathematical chance, but it feels like out of all the options, Hawthorn is almost the front runner to try and squeeze their way back in. What a run it's been. Winners by 66 points here at the Adelaide Oval. Let's get some reaction. Liz Walsh in the rooms.
Thanks, Aaron. I'm here with Hawthorn's Connor McDonald. Connor, an impressive win. You're only up by, 15 points at halftime and then take out an 11-goal win. What really clicked for you after halftime?
I think we just really wanted to put the foot down, and I know we've come over here twice already this year and we've lost from pretty close games, so to come over here and win on the road, especially in Adelaide, we just really put the foot down and we got the result, so that was awesome.
I think it's the biggest score you've ever kicked at Adelaide Oval now. That must be impressive, and you had multiple goal kickers tonight as well.
Yeah, I think that just shows that we share the footy around a lot. We work really hard, and then when we kick the goals we celebrate, as you see, so a lot of goal kickers and a lot of fun tonight.
You've now won 10 of your past 12 games. Talk us through the belief that exists in this side, especially after starting zip and 5, but heading into finals now with such a tight race.
Yeah, I think the external world knows the start of the season we had, and we fixed a lot of things, so I think our confidence just shows now. We've come together as a group, we've worked really hard, and it's all clicking together, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. So it's an amazing turnaround.
It does look like a lot of fun, actually. But to do it with on James Sicily's 150th as well, that must make it even more special.
Yeah, definitely. He's such a good character, leads the boys really, really well. Such an inspiration to come back from his knee as well, especially. I think he's grown so much on field and off field, and then to get the win for him is just even better, and to get a little goal for him as well at the end was awesome.
Yeah, that was a great touch. Let's head up to our experts. We've got Rod Jamieson and Scott Thompson in the box.
Yeah, Connor, Rod Jamieson, great win. Now, we were just talking about it before you came on. Can you take us back at that point of 0-5? Is it correct to say that Sam Mitchell threw it over to the players to actually then get you out of that hole?
Yeah, I think the coaching staff do as much as they possibly can, and it's ultimately up to the players. We're out there, we're playing the game. So for us to start the season 0-5, we just came together and had some really honest conversations, and then we were just able to turn around. We started training a lot harder, making sure we're getting the most out of ourselves week to week, and ultimately that's showing now.
Marby Charles made a little bit of a different up forward along with Jack Ginnivan.
Yeah, those two have come in, they've showed their vibrancy, and I think that's just a reflection of the club. We're really inviting, we want everyone to come in and show their true colours, and they've been allowed to do that, and they're flourishing and they're having fun out there kicking goals, and they've been an awesome addition to our team now.
Connor, Scott Thompson, mate, well done on your game today and great win as a team. Mate, your ball movement today off half-back, talk us through that. So what's Sam's message to the group? Because you've touched on the fact you'd want to take the game on, but you springboard off the half-back line with your offensive ball movement to hit the inside 45 kick and open up the full face of goal. Is that something that's spoken about often?
It's not something that's definitely spoken about, but I just think it goes down to the players we have down there. We've got the likes of Jarman Impey, had a terrific game. Carl Amon really cuts the game open with his foot skills, and then James Sicily as well. So when you've got that calibre of players playing down there, they really help us with our ball movement, and I think they defend really well first, and then open it up with their kicking skills from there, which allows us to score, which helps us a lot.
And that was the other thing that we noticed after quarter time. The pressure in the forward half went to a whole nother level, and the Crows defenders ended up seeing perceived pressure, so they couldn't get any ball movement going whatsoever. So the pressure on the ball, was that a message throughout the game early?
Yeah, well, I think with our players in this team, we bring a lot of pressure. We've got a lot of exciting guys that love to hunt and tackle players down. So we've got the likes of Nick Watson, Jack Ginnivan, Dylan Moore, myself. We just thrive on pressure, and then we get the reward after that. So when we bring our pressure, that's when we play our best footy.
Connor McDonald's with us on ABC Sport after the Hawks' 66-point win, 28 touches and 2 goals. Connor, it's Aaron Bryans here. We've got to ask you about James Sicily. It was his milestone night and managing to get a late couple of goals there flooding forward. It's so important to have a senior leader like him in this young group. Can you tell us about what it's like having him as your skipper?
Yeah, obviously I've only been in the club, this is my 3rd year now, but from the likes of Jack Gunston and Luke Bruce talking about him, he's come a long way with his leadership on field. So I think it's amazing his story. He's come in, he's really grown off field, he's dealt with injuries as well, and then to lead the club like he has the last 2 years has been amazing. He's such an incredible player for us, one of the best in the competition at what he does, and then for him to come forward and kick a late goal in his 150th, it's just a cherry on top for us.
We mentioned it during the call. Since the 1960s, the Hawks have won a flag every decade. It feels like this club is built for success. It doesn't really tolerate failure, and you were going through a clear rebuilding phase, but internally inside the 4 walls, was it always the expectation that you would bounce back pretty quickly, or at least that's what the higher ups were expecting?
Yeah, definitely. The people in the internal building were definitely hopeful, and we're doing a lot of things right, but we're really optimistic as well, and we just had to fix a few little things. We're doing a lot right, we just had to fix up those little things, and we have, and now we're making the most of it, and we're on a really good run.
Connor, it's Neil Cross here. When you say those little things, I mean, one of the unusual things about Hawthorn, I think you're playing a little bit differently to other sides, given that you just don't have those major big forwards to go to as such. So is that one of the things that has been tinkered with, just how you're able to use the Mosquito fleet to get forward and score goals?
Yeah, with Mitch Lewis going down with that horrific injury, that allows other smalls to come into the team, and our keys and Marby Chol and Cal Shadir are doing a really good job at competing at the moment, but the rest of us, Luke Bruce, Dylan Moore, Nick Watson, Jack Ginnivan, myself, we're just really trying to thrive and bring our pressure and ultimately get the reward for that. So obviously we've had to tinker it a bit. A few games this year, we've brought Blake Hardwick down forward, James Sicily even, so we've got a few structures that we can go to, but at the moment it's working well, and if we need them we can call them.
Liz Walsh, who is with you now, said that when you came into the rooms about the, I guess it's a bit of a theme for Hawthorn, a happy team at Hawthorn. Does it feel that around the club, just that every day it's just so much fun?
Yeah, it's such a great environment to work in. You come into work, everyone's smiling and having fun, but I think when you've got the likes of Sam Mitchell as your head coach, he's really quick to bring you back down to earth. So he's all for us having fun and celebrating, but we have to get the work done, work really hard, and then we can. So yeah, it's an awesome place to work. Everyone's loving it. We're working really hard and we're enjoying it too.
I was going to ask you that, Connor, about Sam Mitchell and his personality, part of the unsociable Hawks. Does he relish in a bit of the fun now? Is he kind of relaxed with this new group?
From what I heard, he was very serious in his playing days, but I think a lot of people are astonished with how much he's changed. He's really loving. Everyone's celebrating, having fun. Yeah, it's amazing to see, but yeah, he's such a great coach. All he wants is for everyone to be themselves and have fun and work hard, and yeah, I think it's a really good change, and he's doing a really good job at his role.
One last one, Connor, before you let you go. I'm just reading the pocket profile on Lloyd Meek, and it says here his bench press is 122.53 reps. What's yours?
I'm not too far away on that. I think the last one was 115 for 3, so I'm coming for the big Meek.
Yeah, good work.
Connor, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on the performance. 28 touches, 2 goals, and most importantly, a 66-point win.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Great to have Connor McDonald in the Hawks room. So out of the 8 on percentage, but what a run they're currently on. 10 of the last 12, 0-5 to start the season, and right in the thick of things. And they're just having an absolute blast, aren't they, the Hawks? You could hear it in the song, the way they got into the rooms, the way that Connor just spoke, that they're really embracing the personalities. And it was funny looking back on it a week ago. You were there at the G, Jamo, where the Collingwood fans are getting so stuck into Jack Ginnivan. And I guess the talking point out of that was, well, the Hawks were trying to build a culture, and he was someone who almost put their grand final in jeopardy, and they were happy to let him go. But he goes to a place like Hawthorn where, hey, we embrace your colour and your fun, and it's the right fit for him, isn't it?
Well, I think a lot of clubs try and do that, or try and get that going. And again, I think it has to be driven a lot by the players. You've got your coaches and your development coaches around that sort of guide you and help you in that right direction. But I think for me, James Sicily too kind of touched on it, how good or how he has changed. I think, Tom, I'd be fair, a couple of years ago, he was just a rat bag, wasn't he? Like on and off the field.
Yeah, that's right. And any good culture in any environment is player-driven. In footy scenario, it's player-driven, and that's what Connor touched on then. And you're right, Sam can only do so much, and he has changed a lot from what I've seen, because you think of him as a player, he was serious, but he does bring that unsociable side as well, because the way he played, he wasn't obviously a big guy, but he was ruthless the way he played, and he would push the boundaries and test the umpires as much as he could until he got pulled up on it. And that's part of the reason he was a player he was. And you see that now roll into the way he coaches a side. Now the elements of fun. But at the same time, what creates fun is winning. That's why they're having fun now. It's easy to say, let's have fun. You're not going to be having fun when you're zipping 5, though, are you?
But there is a limit to fun. That's the point, isn't there? I mean, I can't imagine that Mark Jackson would have been allowed to have as much fun as he wanted to at the Hawthorn Football Club sort of thing. There is a limit.
Well, I guess it's based on characters. You know, some coaches try and say, hey, I can get a hold of this bloke and I can make him better. And maybe after a second or third chance, you possibly can, but sometimes you can't. But, you know, like for Jack Ginnivan to come into that side too, I mean, he was pretty keen to come off a premiership, then go, yep, I'm going to the Hawks for whatever reason. I don't know the detail as to why he was ousted or why he walked. But, yeah, I think I actually quite enjoyed and admired Sam. I thought Sam played a lot. You two were both very similar. Not overly quick, Tomo, but certainly. But you found the footy and you were just durable and played a significant amount of football. So, yeah, like I guess it's always you have a way in which you want to think you would want to coach when you become coach. And he did his craft at West Coast, I think, for a number of years before he came back. And
much to the disappointment, I think, of West Coast.
Oh, yeah. And then, you know, have a look at Adam Uzo. He takes over Richmond and, gee, they've won 2 games for the year too. So I think Matty Nix, whilst he'll probably have a look at his footy, I'd suggest he just watch the Olympics tonight. He's not going to get much sleep.
Well, that's a good point, though, Jamo. So the Crows' season, even coming in today, you could argue was dead and buried. Mathematically, yes, they may have been a chance.
It was 0.6.
Yeah, there you go. So what message would he give his players right now? Because a lot of it today, that was very poor.
Yep.
Like, to watch as a visual, all over the ground, was not at the level you'd expect. And then when the push and shove comes late in the game, when the game's dead and buried, as a coach, I'm sure he wouldn't stand for that. So what message is he going to give his playing group now after that performance today?
I'm Essing hit it almost, as Connor touched on. I think it's almost that, boys, that is just not acceptable, and we do not tolerate that. You guys sort this out. And then I'm sure they would come in and they would ask either all lines or even some of the lesser players that have played lesser football, but there were some uncharacteristic things tonight in terms of how they play. Like Mitch Hinge was a bit fumbly. He wasn't as dead-eye as he normally is with his kicking. Max Michaelani, again, we do expect a lot of these players to perform at their level consistently. So you're going to have a bad day. I think, just in that fight alone or that scrap, just to allow the Hawks to get out the back, to easy goals, shut the game down. We spoke about the Hawks. They had to get on top of Adelaide and pull the game back in. So it's identifying it during a game, and Adelaide were clearly unable to do that. So I think this game, it's one sometimes where you get beat up and lose significantly. I think some coaches go, we're not even going to look at that because that's an anomaly. But I would have to say that they need to almost dismantle this game and just go quarter by quarter, play by play, particularly the clearance stuff. That was really poor. The ground ball gets... certainly a little bit tighter in the end. But, yeah, the uncontested. And they did that number on Collingwood last week as well. So, when you're scouting 1 or 2 weeks ahead, you just can't say, well, we didn't expect that they were going to come with intent and purpose. But I thought the way that Hawthorn really got at Adelaide after quarter time, that was a real change.
Probably the one shining light, which is very small given the role that he got, was Dan Curtin. It was the sub tonight as the late in, but when he actually got injected, he showed a couple of glimpses that were quite exciting. Was it enough to kind of force him into the 22?
Well, I think so. I mean, talking to Tom O'Brien, I'm probably hope you don't mind. Like, he feels he should be playing in the middle, and you probably should have said, yeah, let's give him a crack in there at the moment. Like he was started on the half-back in terms of when he came into the team, and he's viewed as a defender, but you feel he'd be a better midfielder, Tomo?
I think, yeah, and junior footy-wise, and even today, I know he came in late. I would love to see him playing. Like, season's dead and buried. There's other young guys that have had opportunity this year. What have they got to lose by playing him? Yep. Yeah, he's a high draft pick. They get some footy into him. Today, when he's come on the ground, he's had 4 quick possessions, strong in the contest with a fend-off in the back half, nailed Will Day at half-forward holding the ball. He played a handful of minutes and started the last quarter on the bench for the first 7 minutes. For me, just get him out there. He's played, I don't know what game percentage he's played today, but it's next to nothing. He's got plenty of energy. There's speed out of the game's gone halfway through the last when he's out there. Just let him play. Just let him get some minutes in. And same with the last quarter. Just leave him out there. Like, the game is over, and I know you want your rotations and you want speed on the game, but when you've already 10, 11 goals down, just let the young fella play, get some minutes into him, and he'll gradually build his own game and feel more and more comfortable out there just by playing minutes, especially in a position now where the Crows cannot make the finals.
25% time on ground. But it was subbed on essentially after half-time.
Yeah.
So it still wasn't really used as much as he could have been.
Well, it was certainly the plan, wasn't it? Because Liz said it was a tactical choice, like to take Himmelberg off and to put him on. So it was well discussed prior to the game.
Just on that as well, Elliot Himmelberg's out of contract. The Giants are possibly circling. They've been looking at, running 4 talls for the last couple of weeks. Is this possibly the last time we see Elliot Himmelberg in Crows colours?
Well, that's a good question, and it's one that's been mentioned probably a few times throughout this season. Himmelberg's been at the club now for 8 years. Hasn't really cemented his spot. He's been that fringe forward in and out for a long time. He's had some opportunity as a backup in the ruck, but he's not really a ruckman. His ruck craft isn't what they need. So he needs to make a decision himself. Now, who knows whether the Crows have put a contract to him? I'm not entirely sure. But if I'm Elliot Himmelberg, I'm seriously looking at my options, because you've had 8 years at Adelaide, you haven't cemented a spot, and if you want to keep your own career going, you're going to have to look elsewhere anyway.
Well, the Giants have been into him for a couple of years, I think, go back and play with his brother. So, look, every player, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? You need to see them, see where they're at. If they give him up, what does that get them? Don't know the detail around and what they're trying to look for, but we've had this discussion probably for the last couple of years. I think Adelaide need another ruck. They need some genuine speed around the football. We know how different Adelaide play when Isaac Rankin is in the middle, to try and find that, and just how quick Hawks were tonight in several areas. I mean, Jarman Impey had shown glimpses at Port Adelaide, but to have that run and rebound off the half-back, Warple's pretty quick, but then you go Watson up forward, just electric. Connor McDonald too, in the middle or up forward, he's still pretty quick. Yeah, and more. I mean, they've got some... When you have a look at Adelaide's team, they don't have that genuine speed that can just break things open a little bit.
It's impressive when you look at the Hawks list that essentially Luke Breust is the only one that won't really be there in the next couple of years. Otherwise, they've got this really strong core. Most of them, the bottom half of 20. So they're just building nicely. You're already on the edge of the 8, banging down the door, and you've got a list that you're probably going to keep around for the next 7-8 years.
But there's the balance for the Hawks of that. They've got 8 players who've in this team tonight. They've got 8 players who've played 100 plus. One of those has played 200 plus. For Adelaide, 5 players have played 100 plus. 2 of them 200 plus. And I don't know how many years Taylor Walker, Rory Laird have got left in the legs. We'll see what happens. Whereas Hawthorn, as you said, Aaron, they just seem like they've pulled the right strings, got the right coach, and they're behind him, and it seemed like they're building.
Just a quick one on their list as well. The backline was pretty solid tonight, but they're looking at adding Josh Battle to the mix. Can you see him kind of squeezing in and working into their structure, Tomo?
Well, the way he plays the game, he'd be a great fit for them. Because even early on in the game tonight, we thought that Hawthorn, well, I did it especially, I thought that they were undersized early when Crows' big forwards had some dominance. But after that, they stood up really well. So you add someone like a Josh Battle to their team who's a brilliant one-on-one defender. He would be exactly what they need to help them. I mean, who have they got at the moment? They've got Sam Frost as their really lockdown defender. The others like Scrimshaw we've spoken about. MPS is smaller. Weddle's got some size, but they're all great in offence as well. They defend and then attack really well. So Josh Battle could be a good fit.
Well, Sicily, you could swing him like he went forward again, so the ability to do something more.
Thoughts of Scott Thompson, Rod Jamieson, wrapping up things here at the Adelaide Oval on ABC Sport. Hawthorn winners by 66 points. Let's get some reaction from the Crows rooms. Liz Walsh downstairs.
Thanks, Aaron. I am here with Crows ruckman Riley O'Brien. Riley, a disappointing loss tonight. You sort of went toe-to-toe with them in the first half. You were down by only 15 points. Can you sort of pinpoint what happened after half-time?
Yeah, I mean, the first half was pretty pleasing, the way we came out and matched them around the ball. And, thought we came into half-time with some good energy, momentum. And then the second half, we dropped off in pretty much all areas. We just couldn't stop their ball movement, and we made too many mistakes with the ball. And we got punished, and it was a really disappointing loss. We haven't had a loss like that for years, so certainly very disappointing.
So considering you haven't had a loss like that for years, what was Matthew Nix's message to the group in the team meeting afterwards?
We're still waiting on that, so we just had our meeting in our line groups, and obviously debriefed a little bit, but about to go in with Nixie and debrief and go over it, but it'll just be disappointing overall. There's so many things that went wrong. It felt pretty helpless there at the end, to be honest. It was we just couldn't stop them, couldn't win contests, and they just got us done.
Obviously you are missing some names. Obviously Dawson, Rankin's still out, but your back line with the likes of Murray, Butts, who couldn't play this week, I actually thought Luke Nankervis was really brave tonight in staying out there when he clearly really hurt his shoulder.
Yeah, Nank did a great job, and I thought he was solid behind the ball, but certainly missed some personnel back there and some leadership. So those 2 big boys down back, and then Dawes through the middle, and obviously missing ranks and stuff. But that's obviously no excuse with the way we played in that second half. Just wasn't us. So disappointing.
Let's head up to our experts. We've got Rod Jamieson and Scott Thompson.
Yeah, Riley, Rod Jamieson too. I thought the way that they also negated that Adelaide were transitioning quite a bit without going forward. That's not the way Adelaide wants to play?
No, it's not, mate. We spoke about that at three-quarter time. So half-time we talked about using the ball and using our kick mark going forward, and then when we had the chance, getting it to our big boys down forward. And in that third quarter, we took that a bit literally and just kept going sideways. We didn't really go forward and hurt them. So and that played into their hands. So didn't help us at all, and we weren't able to punish them and use our key forwards ahead of the ball.
We normally want to talk about our team being your team. Is it Hawthorn? How did you find them? I thought they were just quick by foot and by the way they used the football around. Did that not necessarily catch you off guard? I'm sure you would have watched some of the footage from last week as well against Collingwood.
Yeah, they're pretty dynamic with the ball. You've got a lot of dynamic players, and they sort of attack in waves. So when we made mistakes, they'd certainly punish us, and felt like they had 4 or 5 guys sort of running in a wave and using handballs, and it was really hard to slow them down. And they're a pretty dynamic team going forward, and with a lot of firepower, and we just couldn't shut that down in that second half, and also couldn't win some of the contests. So yeah, disappointing.
Rob, Scott Thompson, mate, bad luck today. Quarter one, we spoke about Crows' ball movement throughout the day, and you touched on it 3/4 time. I thought that your ability in the first quarter, when you did get some good run, I think you had one, Keezy had one, where you were able to go back inside on the 45 and open up the full face of goal, which made you look obviously really good in offence with the 3 tall forwards early on in the game. When that dried up and Hawthorn's pressure went up and your inability to move the ball, did it become perceived pressure from Hawthorn without Crows being able to penetrate through the forward half?
Yeah, probably, Tom. It was certainly a focus coming in to go direct and use our big boys ahead of the ball. We knew that would be a strength and weapon for us. We tried to shift off the line, and then once we got it there, go deep and test them out. And then probably as the game went on, we sort of went into our shells a little bit there. Pressure picked up. We couldn't really find that first mark and then penetrate deep. So a little bit on us with our ball use and a few mistakes, and then a little bit on their pressure probably going to another level in their defence. So certainly second half wasn't the way we wanted to play, but you've hit the nail on the head, I think, there.
And was anything said late in the game or 3/4 time around the Crows' defensive actions? I noticed the forward pressure probably dropped off a little bit, which really allowed the likes of Scrimshaw, Weddle, Jarman Impey for Hawthorn, Carl Amon to really springboard out of the back half and set up their offensive actions.
Yeah, they had a lot of drive from back there, and then probably as a midfield group we talked about probably not getting back to their body and being accountable after we'd won that ball forward. We felt like they sort of outspread us and then got the ball on that rebound and slingshot against us, and we just couldn't slow them down. So we felt like stoppage numbers were okay. We got the ball going forward, and then probably didn't win contests ahead of the ball, and then when they got it, we just had no shape behind the ball, and they just cut straight through us.
Riley, thank you so much for your time. It's always tricky to front up after a big loss, but hopefully you can bounce back next weekend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Riley O'Brien from the Adelaide Crows. A loss to Hawthorn by 66 points here at the Adelaide Oval in front of 41,000. The Hawks 19-10, 124 to Adelaide's 8-10, 58. Wrapping things up here, the conclusion of round 20. Who's got the votes in the ABC Sport Box? Rod Jamison's just stuck the thumb straight up and handed it.
He certainly has.
To Scott Thompson.
And I'm willing to take responsibility for this. I mean, for the Crows, Saligo tried his guts out. I thought he had a real crack today. Scholl had his moments out on the wing, but, the better players across the course of the game were certainly the Hawthorn boys, and you could have raffled a number of them. I mean, Impey was very good. Moore was very good. We spoke about the other guys, Scrimshaw and that out of the back half. But the one vote today... Are we going 3, 2, 1? Go the one first?
1, 2, 3.
One vote I'm giving to John Newcombe. He's a strong body around the midfield, but he's also got the ability now to go forward. So he's ended up with the 22 disposals, 9 contested, 13 uncontested, but he's hit the scoreboard along with 2 goals and 6 clearances. So he gets the 1 vote. Will Day gets the 2. I thought the way he set up the game for Hawthorn was outstanding. His ability to get the ball in congestion and use his legs and his wheels to get out of space and really attack the forward half was really good. He's ended up with 20-odd possessions and a goal himself, so he was brilliant. But the 3 votes today go to Connor McDonald. I thought he had a brilliant game. 28 disposals, 9 contested, 2 goal 1 and 14 scoring involvement. So he was brilliant today for Hawthorn and gets 3 votes.
1 to Newcombe, 2 today, 3 to McDonald. A big thanks to Scott Thompson and Rod Jamison. Neil Cross, Paul Brokenshire, our cash voter, and Liz Walsh downstairs as well. Hawthorn winners by 66 points. They're outside of the 8 on percentage with their 11th victory of the campaign, and Adelaide now 7, 11 and 1. That concludes round 20 with the Dogs moving into the top 8. And speaking of, round 21 kicks off with the Bulldogs hosting Melbourne at the Docklands, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time next Friday. There's also a double header as part of that night, so you can hear West Coast and Gold Coast from Perth Stadium at 7:30 Eastern as well. The Olympics coverage continues in regional Australia and local radio in Adelaide, Canberra, the Northern Territory, Gold Coast and Hobart. So plenty of sport wherever you are around the country. Hopefully you can enjoy the multiple codes that are on offer. The Hawks closing in on a fairy tale finish. They were down by 6 at quarter time, up by 15 at the half, 42 at 3/4 time, and ultimately winners by 66 points. A big thanks to everyone for joining us across the night, for all those who texted in as well. Earlier, Collingwood defeated Richmond by 26, and the Dogs defeated Sydney by 39. Here's how we saw Hawthorn's victory at the Adelaide Oval. O'Brien won it down, only found Bruce, who brushes off the Nankervis tackle and was tripped as a result. Methodical approach for the three-time premiership Hawk. Bruce pops it low and hard, through for the first goal of the afternoon.
Down to half forward, Watson's in space out the back, chips it into the forward pocket, Bruce on the lead, takes it on the chest. Quick transition by the Hawks, Bruce around on the right foot, hooks it back towards goal, on the line, over the line, that'll be a goal.
But the handball was poor, straight to Watson, he pounces and kicks from 35. Harry Houdini, the wizard Watson, snatched it and kicked the goal.
Rochelle inside forward 50, and Philthorpe takes the mark on the lead. Philthorpe, second shot for goal in the opening term, and he doesn't miss this one. Amon's kick inside 50 wasn't great, but was effective. McDonald gave it off. Newcomb from right on 50, long bomb goal.
Scrimshaw hooks it to the top of the goal square, 2-on-2 there, off hands. Chol looking to barge through, did enough, got it to Deere, threw it on the boot, 5 out, straight through. Rushes the kick down the line, off hands, beautiful sidestep from Day, dances out of dodge, and from 45, Day delights.
And then it went to Newcomb, and then Newcomb's forward hand pass found Impey in stride inside 50 and in goal kicking distance. Impey with the finish as the Hungry Hawks hit the first major of the second half. And inside 50, they've got Ginnivan, and Ginnivan marks unopposed around on the right foot, another goal.
Bruce cleanly gathers now to Chol, sandwiched and brought down. Play continues. He dropped it. Gathered by Nash, over the top to Watson, and he smashes it into the Rebate stands. They'll be rioting, the Crows fans. Hands it to Jones in front of the scoreboard, off the step, bangs it, looking for territory, and Sicily was sitting back. The milestone man, game 150, gets a chance to hit the scoreboard and further punish the Crows. Pick 56 in 2013, the All-Australian skipper for the Hawks, James Sicily, in game 150. Strikes it pure. And they come from everywhere to celebrate their main man. Dylan Moore wants to take his kick. Sicily's alone at the top of the goal square. What a gift. And he set it out of the Adelaide Oval.
Ball comes off the pack. Ginnivan picks it up, snaps it.